pay a running back, and they're interchangeable. Why do they keep drafting them in the third round?
Cheap labor.
It's a good question because they look at the track record. Their undrafted list of guys is way, way more impressive than the guys they traded up for. Joe Williams, bust.
Bust.
I guess you could say Trey Sermon at this point,
Bust.
at least for them, he's a bust.
Matt Breida was good.
So they traded up for some guy named Capri Bibbs.
Yeah, I remember that. Capri Bibbs.
It's a great name.
But you know what?
I forgot about it.
You know what? Even though, I hear what you're saying, Mark, but like you think about a third-round pick, fourth-round pick, sixth-round pick, still cheap labor.
It doesn't matter.
Really
It hasn't turned into them having to pay the piper on it. It's just kind of curious. Like, I'd love to know philosophically where he's coming from on that, because it's like and I bet he wouldn't say that. Like, I don't care about running backs, turn and burn. But that seems to be the behavior. And even his dad, for so many years, got so much out of guys who were unheralded and you didn't see him coming. And if you feel like you can do that, then why would you be maneuvering in the third round and continually keep doing it?
Yeah.
Like you would think at a certain point, and maybe he's like, look, well, you can't count on the undrafted guys, but I don't know.
Right.
It feels like you can.
Maybe it's like they're trying to. Jonathan Taylor's the best back in the game. He was a second-round pick. Maybe they're thinking,
Derrick Henry second.
We can find somebody, after the first round, but earlier in the draft. But their track record is it's like the Niners with McKittrick back in the day.
Yeah,
they found all these Pro Bowl offensive linemen. They found them in after the draft or late in the draft. If you have a position where you can do that, that's a huge advantage.
Who's the running back coach name? Bobby
Turner.
Bobby Turner, who he stepped away this year, right? So now you have Anthony Lynn, but Anthony Lynn has a great track record of developing running backs. That's how he got a coaching job with the Chargers, because he was so good with the tailbacks and offense and stuff like that. So maybe that's the way to go. I've always kind of wanted a bell cow, like a dude, an explosive type of guy. And you could find those guys in the second round. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor. You have Derrick Henry in Tennessee. Nobody wants to tackle him. He has speed to burn. You can't find those running backs in the second round. Problem is the Niners go to the fourth round, to the sixth round, sometimes the third round, and it doesn't work out.
By the way, though, bell cow, all of us fantasy football players are always looking for bell cow.
It's kind of a thing of the
past. But like tie bell cow to Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Like all those guys you just mentioned.
Joe Mixon, 19, and like bell cow. Mixon. And maybe bell cow's a different meaning now. It's not like, hey, we're going to get this guy 35 carries. Like we're going to run him into the ground like Jerome Bettis or something. But like a guy you can give the ball to 20 times a game, whether it's in a passing game, running the ball 15 times. Because like there's a thing where you get a running back in the fourth quarter, a really good one, and the team's just getting worn down, and defenses don't want to tackle that guy.
No, it's not a bad thing.
And I think that's an advantage.
It's not a bad thing, but it's not a need. It's not a need. Like, look at the teams that have done the Patriots for years never had a bell cow. Rams over the last few years have never really had a bell cow.
They ran guys into the ground. Sonny Michel ran the ball a lot that year with the Patriots.
He did,
as a rookie.
Bill's always got guys
Corey Dillon ran the ball a lot. Antoine
Yep.
Smith ran the ball a lot. It may not be for 5 years, but for that season, those guys run the ball like, that's our guy, Antoine Smith, the first Patriots run. Corey Dillon. Those are our guys. Right, we're going to run them.
I'm going to come back with Kansas City last few years. Never a bell cow. Like, Jamal Charles years ago, but they didn't win with him. Like, I don't think it's a need. Sure, if you got a dude, you got a dude. But Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey and
Jonathan Taylor,
and Derrick Henry and Jonathan. How many Super Bowls these guys been to?
It's look at Dallas with Zeke too. Dallas ran Zeke like exactly what you're describing, right? He got the ball. Mm-hmm. Now who's getting the ball? Pollard,
Tony Pollard,
because they're throwing it to him in the flat. And they're kind of diversifying.
Here's the other problem.
So it doesn't last long, but for that season,
but
can I rely on Elijah Mitchell to run the ball over 200 times a season? Played 11 games last year, and he had a great average per carry. But boy, in that Philly game, you saw. Man, that may be a little too physical for Elijah Mitchell.
Here's the other deal that's contractual. If you create that guy, then what do you got to do with that guy when it comes time to pay? Like the Steelers, right. So the Steelers, you end up in a Le'Veon Bell situation. Larry, you bring up Zeke, paid him, whoops. Panthers, paid him, whoops. Right? Dalvin Cook, you don't say whoops, but it's led to what? Like,
I rather had those guys.
It's like the Rams with Gurley. They drafted him high, they rode him hard, and then they didn't give him that second deal, right?
They didn't give him that second deal. Now they have Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson Jr., some really good tailbacks who could be those guys, But, they were difference makers.
It is. You bring up Gurley. It is amazing. The guys that do sort of hold out and get into the contract battle.
As a running back.
It's not like, and 3 years later, they're just gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gurley, Bell,
shot.
Gone.
Yeah.
Shot. Gone. Like the team is
going
right.
way back. I mean, Dickerson was awesome with the Rams. Forced to trade. Terrible.
Not the same.
Yeah.
That's why the Raiders didn't pick up Josh Jacobs' option. I don't think, no matter what he does this season, I don't think they're going to sign him to a long-term extension.
As long as McDaniel's there, they'll the same thing.
Yeah,
pay another running back again.
Zimmer White's a good, tough running back out of Georgia.
Zeus. Yeah.
They didn't give him a lot of carries.
He was a 5-star.
Yeah, he was a 5-star. They had James Cook, Dalvin's little brother, was there at Georgia, and they just kind of split the carries up. And Zamir White's going to be nice with the Raiders. I like him.
Well, going along with Joe Williams and Trey Sermon, I personally don't think that Davis Price is going to continue that trend of mid-round running back busts, because you saw that from Ari Mayroff at My Sports Update on Twitter, very popular national NFL writer. He, went through the list and said, these guys undrafted, like Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert, or drafted in the late rounds, like Elijah Mitchell.
Like Mitchell.
Jeff Wilson.
Exactly. And I don't think TDP, though, is going to continue that trend of, third or fourth round bust. I think he's actually going to be really good for them
Who knows what the opportunity is even going to be, though, by the way.
Right. By the way, speaking today?
He's playing today.
He's practicing. We know that he's speaking.
I would guess no.
Probably not.
Really? I heard you talk driving in. I would love to hear him talk, get his perspective. I bet you they won't.
They won't put him in that spot. Wow. Are you willing to walk back your comments when you said "see ya"?
Yeah. I mean,
are you willing to walk those back now?
Well, maybe he was taken out of context, and there was really a later on the end there. See you later.
Yeah, the mic turned off.
He just turned it off.
Yeah, he said in September, right afterward.
Never answered a question, but are you really okay with being a backup? Are you here to be the backup all season long?
Behavior says yes.
Like he's a competitor. I think that's underrated about Jimmy. He does want to win. He wants to be the guy. There's so many questions I wouldn't want to ask him today. And the Niners, what they did the other day was doing a conference call. I wanted to see the facial expressions of Kyle Shanahan when you're giving these answers.
Joke.
I want to see, I'd love to hear him say, just describe, what it was like being in his position last year and how now with the roles reversed.
Yeah.
1 year later, do you lose face in the room? Do you gain more face with the players? Because you know what? You're accepting of both roles, or you can make both roles work. I think it's a really interesting dynamic. Really.
I know you're excited, though, for the practice stats that are about to be coming out for Jimmy Garoppolo, huh?
Yeah, practice stats.
Wow.
That's right. Give me some practice stats.
You hear Phil Simms yesterday? Phil was like, these practice stats are ridiculous.
Did he?
I don't care. Oh, he ripped them.
Yeah.
He ripped them. I can't say them either.
I mean, could you imagine if you had stats or ratings on what you said in the hallway?
Our ratings would be really good if they heard what we just said in the hallway.
Yeah, you came in with a look, Mark. You came in with a look.
I'm sports mad at Larry. I'm not actually mad at Larry, but I'm sports mad at him.
The Giants?
Yeah, no. Well, I guess you could. Yeah, no. I'm
hear what I said earlier?
We're going to save it for our show. No, what'd you say?
Yeah,
what'd you say?
Well, it's so bad with the Giants right now.
It is. Well,
and I think Farhan lost that benefit of the doubt for the first 2 years because he hired a guy in Gabe Kapler that was very controversial around here. Remember his introductory presser? It was like 40 straight minutes of everything but baseball. All right.
It was a little too much.
It was a little too much, but it was all. It was
it's a little bit of
some journalists in this.
It's a little bit of an unfair controversy. I'm not going to say that the issue that was being discussed was unfair because it was very, very serious, but to make that issue all about Gabe,
right?
If you know, was really kind of odd. And in fact, I would have. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
No,
but if you were going to make that about Gabe, you need to make it as much about Farhan.
Right.
He was a leader with that with the Dodge organization when that all went down too.
Yeah.
So with that said,
anyway, go ahead.
With that said, there's 3 players I would bring back next year, and one of them I don't think would.
Okay.
Webb, obviously.
Oh, you were saying only 3?
Only 3. Logan Webb.
Okay.
Camilo Duval.
Right.
And Carlos Rodon, who I don't think is coming back. I think he's opting out. And I think
would you bring Carlos Rodon back at 5 years at $20 million? Because I wouldn't. I'd say bye-bye. No way.
I'm iffy on that.
I'm
iffy on that.
I think they will make the same decision that you're saying.
Yeah.
Which is why we all think he's going to be gone.
Dave Fleming kind of tipped his hand a few weeks ago on our show where he basically said, I don't know. I don't know about that because they do believe that they could find a Jacob Junis, they could find an Alex Cobb, they could find another Gosman and make him into a serviceable starting pitcher.
But you don't have you need if you have a goal of going to the playoffs, you need a 1 or a 2.
Yeah,
and then those serviceable is not what I'm looking for.
No, nobody is.
But they've got a point if their response is, look, he has now had a sum total of 1 year without arm problems in the bigs. You want to do 5 years and up I get it.
I got a couple questions.
One of Fleming's points, though, was when talking about Rodon was he said, well, one, there's going to be other teams that are just willing to pay him possibly at market value, according to Spotrac, if you take that with a grain of salt, but they have the market value right now at $30 million. Fleming said that other teams are going to be willing to pay him that much.
5 years and a $150.
And then he's been healthy for 2 years, both contract years.
And he's expecting higher than Gosman, which was 5 years, 110. And he thinks that the fastball, this is what Fleming said, he thinks the fastball, it's more sustainable for the future. So that's why teams are going to be willing to give him that big contract.
Well, and desperate supply and demand. And that's, the whole dynamic of free agency. But no way. There's no way Farhan signs him.
So there's no way there.
I would say
How's
no
Giants
way.
ownership feeling about everything right now? The crowds is
I think they know they need to reinvent themselves, Sponte. I think they know that they need to get younger, more entertaining, more dynamic, more, I think they know that this is an off season of change.
Farhan believe that?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, but you know what?
Yeah.
I saw Gabe pointing fingers yesterday with his comments. So
there's been a lot. No, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because there's a lot of that going on. Yeah. And I've heard Logan Webb, Alex Wood, Rodon, and numerous other players. We didn't play with any fire. Well, how does that happen? How do you play with no fire? And who is that on? Right. Is it because of the lineup? Is it because you don't like the manager? Is it because you don't like the philosophy? How are you not playing with fire?
Your manager has fire tattooed on his hand.
Right.
What's going on with that?
Yet never shows it. But it is an interesting comment because, look, these are grown men. If you came in here and you were doing a show and it was just kind of like, man, I lacked energy today. Are we blaming the Hagen?
No,
hey,
blame yourself.
Bonte's a little dry today. Where were you on that one?
Right.
Like what?
Right.
If so, there's so many questions to Logan, and Logan, he weaved his way through that comment. You could tell he was uncomfortable with it.
Yep.
He's like, first, I'm going to use the word complacent. That's not it. Maybe we're lacking fire. So is he pointing at teammates? Is he pointing at Gabe?
I don't know. Is he pointing at the front office?
Is he pointing at himself? I don't think so.
He's pointing at Gabe, I think. Even if he doesn't say it,
it felt that way.
It does sound like
so. Well, here's the other thing then. Why does the manager need to help you have fire to go out there and play?
That's my question.
Look in the mirror. So who is this all on? And
the only thing is they'll say when things are going good, teams take on the traits of their manager.
Right.
But I don't know. All I know is that when I'm reading the Kapler comments, it sounds like, hey man, it ain't me. It's like, I'll read them later, but it's like we're demonstrating fire.
He basically said we're doing everything like we did all the pregame routines. We've had all the fire. We've had all the effort. We've had all the everything, and it's not good enough, which that's going to play to, I don't have any good players.
And is he wrong? I don't even love Gabe Kapler, but you know what?
He's not wrong.
I kind of would side with him if we really got into a debate on this.
But the odd thing is with so many of those same players, they had their best year ever just a year ago. And I know there's additions and subtractions.
You lost Posey,
Bryant, even someone like Donovan Solano. Like I get it. They lost some people. You added some people, but for it to be this different, I don't know.
So
you accepted the Manager of the Year award when it went well.
Well, here's the deal. We're in a situation where the next 9 months, the Giants are on the back burner. You have Trey Lance and the Niners, and what's going on with the quarterback spot and Kyle Shanahan and this loaded roster. And then you got the defending NBA champions about to play ball October 18th.
Well,
so the Giants would have to sign Judge, Turner, top pitcher, whoever's out there, Josh Bell.
Well, there's a couple ways to look at that. Yes, that's a conversation.
But hold on.
That's a conversation.
Ownership can't be happy with this.
No, that's a conversation they're having.
It's going to be year 5 of Farhan.
They're partially to blame, though. They need to spend some money. The first question that needs to be asked, you have a top 13 payroll, but you got your top 5 in revenue. Why is that? Why is there a disparity there? Why did you sit on $20 million? Why did you spend 5% less of your revenue than the Dodgers spent of their revenue? And when they have more revenue, you should have sent, if anything, you should have spent a higher percentage. Instead you spent a lower percentage.
They could have all the money in the world. Who's going to want to play with everything going on out here in that philosophy? I don't know about that.
I always challenge you with that one because money. That's what players sign.
Players didn't like it in Philly. Players seem to be not liking it here in San Francisco.
Like Javi
travels around the league.
Javi Baez signed a contract with the Tigers. Okay, if you're the highest bidder, you get the dude.
Yes,
you get 9 times.
Maybe
out
he was
of 10.
sold on a rebuild. I don't know.
Come on, man.
I don't know. You think
they
could throw $500 million in Aaron Judge? You honestly think he's going to take that $500 million here in San Francisco?
If someone else
is compete against Arizona, because now the Arizona Cardinals are Diamondbacks are in the mix now. They're in the mix now.
Yeah,
I don't think they think about it that way. I feel like players and agents don't sit down with the standings and go, okay, this is gonna be the next 9 years of my life, and try to predict what that's gonna look like. Even 2 years from now, who knows? If you're the high bidder, you win.
I think the Giants are in a bad state right now.
They are.
I think it's going to be some dark days. But I'm starting to think like early '80s type of Giants.
Well, they first need a big September. They need to, whatever young player they got, Cole Waits, Dabovich, whoever it is, they got to call up somebody this month that makes you go, I wouldn't mind seeing that guy next year. Because right now, there's nobody that you say I want to see.
Nobody.
And I'm tired of watching Yaz. I mean, Yaz is not Yaz. I mean, and Wade is, he might have just been a 1 year wonder. Yeah. And stop hitting these guys 1, 2, 3. I mean, my goodness, these guys are failing at a record rate. It might be time for, I don't know, maybe try somebody new. Anybody?
They legit need
you're a Von Brown guy, right?
Anyone.
I'm a you guy if you can hit.
Right, brother, if you got a headache right now on the Giants, you're on the IL.
Yeah.
I want all the roster spots. Everybody, except for Joey Bart. Please just
got to flip though.
Step aside.
Because there was something about putting butts in the seats. They're now not the marquee.
Yeah.
Four blocks down the street, the Warriors got it. Everything's cracking down there with Chase Center. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody would drive down to Santa Clara to see what's going on with the Niners. We're not going to Oracle Park.
No,
you see some changes.
So you're right. That is one of the ownership conversations is going to be where do we stand with the entertainment dollar in San Francisco, California? The other side to that, though, and this is true for all the teams in the Bay, they have a fan base. They have a very, very big fan base, and that fan base is going to wait for them to do something that they want to do. It's not like Giants fans are like, that's it, I'm not a Giants fan.
No
but
doubt.
No, but your entertainment dollar,
right?
That is a competition that they're losing right now. Yes. Yeah.
And sponsors, by the way.
They're
competing with the Warriors for attention, fans, and sponsors.
Season ticket holders are thinking, man, do I renew my tickets? I just think they're a long way away. And I don't think, hey, one off season, you spend some money, you're going to be right back in.
You never know, though, because we thought that an off season ago, going into last year.
5 of the last 6 years.
Right, but before
it looks more and more like an anomaly.
And even if it is, why couldn't another anomaly happen next year? I guess is my point. I do think in sports, in fact, there's a fun thing that Larry and I are going to play with today. It changes fast, and we never see it coming. What is the stat? I think it's I got to get the number about how many years in a row this has been true, but 4 teams in the NFL at least 4 make the playoffs that did not make the playoffs the year before. And I got to get the number.
This is Major League Baseball.
It's a big number. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's 30 years.
So I got to roll. We got to do some things here. You guys chew on that.
Yep.
I just think they're a long way away, and I don't know, man. I don't know about this regime.
Since 1990. Since 1990.
Wow.
32 consecutive years. 4 teams in the NFL make the playoffs that didn't the year before.
What about Major League Baseball?
No, my point being is it changes every year.
It does change in the NFL.
It changes
in the NFL.
All sports.
Baseball, how much does it change?
I mean,
I'd love to see those numbers.
The Dodgers will be good again next year. I know that.
Hey, all you got to know, those Padres, Phillies, Blue Jays last year all struggled. They all dumped their manager. They're all playoff bound this year. Do you dump your manager?
Or
do you stay with the regime? Or is it time for new faces, new ideas, new approach?
Dude, you got a pocket full of cash. The minor league system is okay, I guess. Maybe you bring in a new guy, a new manager and a GM. I don't know. It's year 4. It's year 4.
I mean,
and it looks bleak.
It's worth considering.
It is worth
you
consideration.
can think it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen. You can think it. It's not going to happen.
You're probably right. Don't let them stink in 2023. All right, guys, you guys have a good show. Willard and Krueger coming up next.
They're longtime friends.
Let me tell you something real quick about Dibs that I'm sure not everybody knows.
And first-time partners.
Hang in there, big guy. There'll be brighter days ahead.
Now, these two homegrown Bay Area boys finally come together to take over sports talk.
Get the hell off of my doorstep.
Major League Baseball, you stink.
It's Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
All right, yeah, it's true. But we're men enough to figure it out. I'm sports mad at you. We need to talk this out. I am. I'm very sports mad at you right now. For things that you've been saying, Larry. For things that you've been saying on my phone, on Twitter, to my face, right in the face. I am. I'm sports mad at you today. But good morning. Good morning. Hello. How are you?
I'm
great to
great.
have you here.
Did you miss me yesterday?
Actually, I did. And I actually don't think that this sports mad would be happening if you had been here yesterday.
That guy yesterday was really good.
He was. What's his name?
That guy was good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he goes, sometimes we call him Hot Take Jake. He's got takes. So you got a tough act to follow. But if you'd been here yesterday, you would have heard the parade of NFL players and NFL coaches and NFL former GMs. You would have heard the parade of them say, what has happened with the 49ers is not great for Trey. It's not great for Trey. It doesn't have anything to do with anyone's specific opinion about Trey. I want to walk something back if anybody, like you, Larry, misunderstood anything that's been said this week. I don't even have an opinion. I don't know how I could have an opinion about what Trey Lance is going to be. How could you? Do you have one?
Yes.
I have no idea. How could you know what he's going to be?
Not about, an opinion and knowing are different.
Okay.
I have an opinion based on watching him a lot and based on and seeing similar players in the past or players that I think are somewhat similar. I got a pretty good feel for how I think Trey's career is going to go.
Okay. And that is exciting. Wonderful. I would like to wait and see what he looks like as an NFL starter this year. And my hope is that he plays 17 games for the San Francisco 49ers. Everything I've said over the last 48 hours has to do with my read on what the 49ers just did. Because I went back and I looked at it actually. Since 2010, every single first-round quarterback taken, all of them. And some of them are number one overall.
There's a ton of bad ones.
And there's a ton, always, right? And we knew this. Like, I remember the conversation in the draft last year when you had the 5 guys that everyone was talking about. Shout out 5 guys. A little too pricey. But anyway, when you had the, right? Anyway, the 5 guys.
Hit 5 guys yesterday.
You did?
Yes.
What'd you order?
Just a regular hamburger and Cajun fries. And
the final total was?
And I paid for the other person. It was like $32.
You paid for the other person.
Yeah.
Are you cheating on your wife? That was very
no.
That was very mysterious. It was the other person.
It was a business meeting, Mark.
You had a business meeting at 5 guys?
Yes.
What kind of business are you running?
Seriously, yeah. One where we meet at 5 guys in the middle of the day.
I'll tell you what, that sounded like a drug deal, to be honest with you. Anyway.
Hey, can I get some swag? You get some. Wait, no, you go first. No, you give me the money first. No, you put it in my pocket first.
Yeah,
like the Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Totally.
Greatest scene of all time.
I'm going to put the burger under the third table. You come in. You better be alone. Anyway, my point is this. That's very, very exciting. If you think he's going to be good, I hope he's going to be good. And I have no idea. But if you go back to those 5 guys, there was the comment made by many that says history will tell you that at minimum, 3 of these dudes are going to stink.
I know. And it's hard. I wrote down their names. I was like, wow,
who could they be?
Well, right now, you'd probably say Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, and maybe Trevor Lawrence.
Well, Mac Jones made the playoffs.
Right. Davis Mills had almost a 70% completion
right,
percentage.
And then there's always somebody hiding in the weeds in the second, third, or fourth round that ends up being a dude.
Fields looked really good at times.
I mean, I don't think anybody has solidified themselves. Nobody's written in ink that they're good. Nobody's written in ink that they're bad. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Zach Wilson would be the first one that would scare me right now, but that's not surprising because he's a Jet, right? Like he's had injuries and he's had the worst lot in life in terms of those five.
Terrible O-line, yeah.
All that. There was a stat I saw, and actually not a stat. I think Mike Lombardi sent this out yesterday. The Jets had a flurry of their cuts.
I saw that all go elsewhere.
All get picked up.
That's not a good sign.
Lombardi goes, so one of two things is true. Either the Jets are really bad at evaluating their players, or
they're really good.
They just have tons of good players and there's nothing they can do about it. And which do you think is true?
I would say Joe Douglas right now is not feeling too good.
Anyway, so
that's the GM in New York.
Yeah, like I'm not here to say that we've got any clue on what any of those five guys are going to be as pros. And in no way, shape, or form am I even concerned about Trey. The concern word that I kept using is based on what I see the 49ers doing. And of every first-round quarterback picked last 12 years, all of them, no other NFL team once, not even for a guy picked 30th like Lamar Jackson, not one has put a big-name backup right behind him once he started. Never.
How many of those teams were top-tier playoff contenders or Super Bowl contenders?
Way less than half. Obviously, if you're talking about the guys who get drafted in the top five, then the 49ers are the very, very rare circumstance where it's a good team. But guys picking quarterbacks late, Lamar Jackson being the first example. So Lamar ended up actually, you weren't thinking, we're going to give him the keys. I think it was still Flacco at the time, right? When they drafted Lamar Jackson. And then it got to him a little bit earlier than they thought. And then it was like, we kind of got something here and blah, blah, blah. And then once Lamar's the guy, same thing. Get Joe out of here. We're not going to leave Joe here because the locker room likes Joe. The locker room's won with Joe. There are people here who won a Super Bowl with Joe. So we better get Joe out of here because if our young guy struggles, the locker room's going to want Joe. So you can hate my read on the 49ers. I got no issue with that. But my read is that they're concerned.
You love Trey. You're rooting hard for Trey.
Of course.
I'm saying is
the move all year.
There's a big sentiment out there for this Jimmy Garoppolo move, which is an overwhelmingly great move. You had a quarterback who was making $25 million due to make that, who's now in your backyard as your backup for $6 million. You strengthened your team. It helps your Super Bowl chances. It assures you of depth and competition at the most important spot on your football team. These are all positives, overwhelming positives. And yet there seemed to be this underlying theme of, what does this do for Trey? And you know what? It could happen, Mark, that I think Trey's like Alex Smith. He's probably going to take some time. It's going to take some time.
Where do you think he sits on the odds that just came out? First QB benched of the year. We'll tell you that coming up next. Larry is off of his one-day Mark Willard imposed suspension. It's Larry in for Dibs. Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Breathe new life into life at home with IKEA Festival. 10 topics, one purpose. To get more out of the homes we love. What are you passionate about? Art, dance, music, food, fur babies? Get inspired, create, and share with us. With celebrations, giveaways, IKEA family offers, and live streams with expert advice. It's all happening at IKEA Festival. Join us from August 26th through September 10th online or at your local IKEA store. Learn more at IKEA-USA.com.
Okay, you know those amazing spots only the true San Francisco locals are in on? Like that place with the square pizzas? Or Mama Ho-Ho, the spot for sweet and sour chicken that's anything but so-so. Order up! You know, with the Granch dressing. And all the other spots the real SF locals know without us even saying them. Yeah, they're on DoorDash. San Francisco gets it. DoorDash has it.
Pink Floyd's Roger Waters. This is not a drill.
We're doing a show in the round. It's something new. I look forward to the challenge.
Featuring his songs from the golden era of Pink Floyd. Friday and Saturday, September 23rd and 24th, Chase Center in San Francisco. Tickets on sale now at rogerwaters.com. This is not a drill. Produced by AEG Presents.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Kirby is your driveway mechanic. They bring the shop to you with brake and tire replacements, oil changes, and much more. It's the ultimate convenience. Easy booking, transparent pricing, on-time arrivals, and service right in your driveway. No waiting rooms and direct access to your mechanic with friendly and reliable service. No middleman or upsells. They're so sure you'll love the convenience. Take $50 off your first oil change with code OIL50 at Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com and use code OIL50. Kirby, your driveway mechanic.
That's the sound of a crack in the ceiling found at a home inspection. But with a Realtor by your side, a newfound leak might only cause minor worries. With their expertise, a Realtor can suggest a credit at closing and even connect you to a contractor to help you shore up that leak and alleviate your worries. When it comes to cracks in your plans, the expertise of a Realtor can make all the difference. The difference between an agent and a Realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Hey everybody, it's Boomer Esiason here. When a part of your offense isn't firing on all cylinders, it shows. And sometimes the only solution is to replace that part with something new. It's true on a championship team, and it's also true with cars. That's why I love eBay Motors. They have all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them, by the way. And that way you can get the parts that you need to make your car a winner. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Tonight on Fox. Here we go. One of the nation's most historic programs looks to light up prime time. I'm coming for number one. I'm coming for number one. Sean Clifford leads the Nittany Lions. Wow! Touchdown! In an electrifying Big Ten matchup against Aiden O'Connell and the Boilermakers. Are you kidding me? He's going down. Penn State, Purdue. Coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern on Fox. Sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.
Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Now, back to Willard and Dibbs on 95.7 The Game.
415. So I love when you get the extra O's. I love to text that way too. So about your take.
Dad, you're so lame.
So could you give me another $20? Because the 50 you gave me is not enough. So
the Giants are so freaking boring.
Well, that's just true. So, Willard, there's a problem with your take. Isn't Flacco backing up Zach Wilson? Just saying. Big name backup. We got a so and a just saying in the same text. Ba-bow.
Is there a G on the end of the saying, or is it just saying?
No, there's actually a G.
Oh, okay.
So we no slang. But thank you, 415. And so there's a big problem with your text. Joe Flacco's not a big name anymore. He's at the end of his career. That's completely different with a different organization and a different player. But Joe Flacco, back in that day with the Ravens, was a former Super Bowl winning quarterback with some of the same teammates who had the ring with him. And so when Lamar got the job, bye-bye, Joe. Thanks. We can't have you in here because what if Lamar struggles? The teammates are going to start to whisper. So I guess that's the only point. There's nothing. I don't ever want any of this conversation to go to Trey. It's really, in an odd way, about the play on the field. It's not about him. It's about the team, the decision they made, the presence that is Jimmy. It's not about, like, Trey can't do anything wrong here. He can just go shoot his shot. He can be as good of a player as he can be, and we'll see what that is. And if it's good enough, awesome. And if it's not, then there's going to have to be a pivot. But I wonder, I've been wanting to ask you this since you walked out of here 2 days ago. You don't disagree with this, do you?
I do. Okay.
This isn't great for Trey.
There's
you don't think this is good for him, do you?
There's a lot of different ways you can shape this, for sure. I mean, it could go a lot of different directions, really. Ultimately, there's a race. Anytime any quarterback jumps into the NFL, and the race, and this was explained to me years ago, the race is, can you learn what to do, come up to speed, adjust to the speed of the game, and settle in before your body gets beaten up by the hits that you take from the incredibly athletic, powerful, explosive defenders that reside in this league. So, yeah, if he sat this year instead of getting his butt kicked, and that saved him from, blowing out his knee or breaking his clavicle or separating his throwing shoulder, things like that potentially could have long-term, that would really be diminished on the back end, then in that case, it would help him. But overall, I also think competition is a positive. Just because he may not play that many games this year, as many as we want to see him play, but Alex Smith was drafted, first pick in the 2005 draft. He became a 3-time Pro Bowler. I think his first Pro Bowl was like 2013.
Right.
So it took a while. I'm not saying it's going to be the same deal, but it doesn't, just because Trey may not be good this year, and I'm just saying he may not be good, he may be great, but if he may not be good this year, but it doesn't mean that he's not going to be a future Pro Bowl quarterback, and it wasn't a hell of a pick and maybe the best pick of the quarterbacks in the last draft.
I'll agree with that.
So it can be both this year. He could be a colossal disappointing, and still very much headed towards a future that includes multiple Pro Bowls and maybe a Super Bowl.
He could.
We're just in an instant gratification society.
I don't disagree with that. So again, my whole thing on this has been that I believe, and you can tell me I'm wrong, and I totally will accept that. I believe the 49ers hoped they were more sure about him today than they are.
They're hedging. The one undeniable thing is they're hedging.
Like, if I had to boil the last 72 hours down to one sentence, that's my sentence. It has nothing to do with what I think about Trey. It had nothing to do with, I believe the 49ers hoped they were more sure today than they are.
There's no doubt.
That's my sentence.
There's no doubt they're hedging, right? We're in agreement on that. But here's the other thing nobody talks about. Their track record of handicapping the quarterback position sucks.
Not great.
For the most part.
I mean,
they've missed on a few guys. They didn't go after Mahomes. They didn't go after Watson. They decided to go with Hoyer. They haven't made every right decision on the quarterback.
They traded a second rounder for Jimmy, and I will forever say that was a hell of a move.
Right. But my point is just that their evaluation with quarterbacks is not like the strength necessarily. They don't have a track record of they hit winners on every quarterback decision they've made.
Agreed.
So if they are hedging here, that doesn't even tell me anything really about Trey.
Yeah.
We're not going to find out about Trey until he actually hits the field, actually does it, and we get, real NFL games to break down.
Richard Sherman weighed in on this. I think you will specifically love what he has to say. If you didn't hear it already, we'll have that in just a little bit. Do you know who Zach Gelb is? I
watched the video last night.
Oh my gosh, there's a
conference call with Aaron Donald.
I almost got offended by both Aaron Donald and his PR rep. This is really interesting sound. You're definitely going to want to hear it. And you made a statement on the changeover about what Gabe Kapler said yesterday. And we've got that for you as well. And I think interpreting it is going to be interesting for sure. Haven't had a chance yet to say good morning to everybody on the text line on YouTube. Good morning, YouTubers, Twitch. Hello, 888-957-9570, our number. That's the Comcast Business text line as well. We would love your communication throughout the show. Larry in for Dibs both today and tomorrow here on 95.7.
Well, let's see how today goes, and then we'll...
Okay, that's actually fair. Yeah, you might get suspended again. So who do you think around the NFL, odds, which are now out,
right?
First starting quarterback to be benched in 2022. You have the list, right? Did you already look at it?
I have the list. I already looked at it.
Okay, but did you memorize it?
No, I didn't.
All right. Did you remember who's number one? Who do you think's number one on the list?
I didn't memorize it, actually. I would guess maybe Justin Fields?
No, Justin Fields is all the way down at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th. 9th at plus 1,200. Justin's got the gig there. Is Andy Dalton still there? Who's backing him up? I don't even know who's back. See, which, by the way, is going to underline a point I've been trying to make for the last 2 days.
It doesn't matter who the backup is.
Nobody even knows who the backup is. Could I quiz you on backups? You're like a roster guy. Do you know
a bunch of them?
Who's Tom Brady's backup?
Blaine Gabbert.
Is it still Gabbert?
And Trask is there.
Okay, and I know Jordan Love is in Green Bay. Who's Mahomes' backup?
Henne. Or it was Henne.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Chad Henne.
Justin Herbert's backup is?
It was Tyrod.
But Tyrod's in New York.
Is it the guy who's made a ton of money as a backup? Chase Daniel?
You're gonna keep. I'm gonna like my
Chase
answer.
Daniels.
My answer to anything you ask me right now is gonna be I don't know. I just like I don't know.
Who's Stafford's backup?
Oh, in L.A. Jimmy Garoppolo.
No,
is it?
It's some guy named Wolford or Wofford.
Wolf Blitzer?
Yeah, Wolf Blitzer.
It's Wolf Blitzer has shown up. CNN correspondent Wolf Blitzer.
If Wolf Blitzer was actually his backup, man, I would just go all out blitz on every play.
Very well played. Very well played.
The quarterback must go down and must go down hard. We need me, Wolf Blitzer.
We could make up names right now, and I'd be like, yeah, I believe that. I have no idea.
Well, we know Dak
John
Prescott.
Wolford, by the way.
John Wolford? Wofford?
I think
Wolford. WOLFORD.
Okay, that's Matt Stafford's backup?
That is correct, according to the ESPN depth chart.
And who's Justin Herbert's backup?
Chase Daniel?
Is it Chase Daniel? Or is it Easton Stick?
No. I love having
Where did
Easton Stick on the
Stick
show. He went to North Dakota State.
Well, I know that. Yeah, he'd be great.
He was there. He'd be
Carson
a great interview.
Wentz, Easton Stick, Trey Lance. That's how it went. Yeah, go ahead.
The backup in San Diego is Chase Daniel. Easton Stick is the third string.
Okay,
we
nailed it. We got them both.
Wow.
And thank you for saying San Diego. Love you forever on that one. Sam, who is, well, we did this yesterday, but do you know who Josh Allen's backup is?
It was Trubisky.
Nope. Well, obviously not this year. He'll be starting in Pittsburgh.
And I just watched Carolina Buffalo last night.
I know this.
And
one.
I didn't even see.
He's a good one. He's a good one. He's got a resume in this league.
No idea.
Case Keenum. Case Keenum will be backing up Josh Allen this year.
See, I didn't know that.
Who's Lamar Jackson's backup? Don't say RG3.
Huntley?
I think it is. I
thought they might have cut him, maybe. Actually.
Maybe not. I don't see.
It was last year. Last year was Huntley.
So who's Dak Prescott's backup?
Jenny White.
Thank you.
Yeah, Roger Staubach. No.
I mean, there is.
No, it's Cooper
Cup.
Cooper
Cup.
Cooper.
I don't know.
Cooper Rupp.
Garrett? Is somebody named Garrett? Does he have the name Garrett? I feel like you're a quarterback if you name a kid.
Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
According to the depth chart I have here, there is no backup quarterback on the Cowboys right now.
Actually, I think I did hear that they cut all the quarterbacks except for Dak yesterday.
Really?
I think that's actually accurate. Yeah, they cut them all.
That's job security right there.
It's like, forget it. If he gets hurt, we're dead.
Who's Rodgers' backup?
Well, Jordan Love.
Okay, that's right.
Jordan Love. Okay. Only because he's a first-round draft pick.
Well,
I know that one.
Minnesota, by the way, obviously have Cousins. They cut both their backups, Mannion and the guy from A&M.
And I just watched episode 2.
Kellen
I'm
Mond.
behind. Kellen Mond, who got picked up by somebody. I can't remember who, but somebody grabbed him.
Philly wanted him or something.
Anyway, I watched episode 2 of Hard Knocks last night. Are you ahead?
Yes.
Have you watched all 4?
I've watched 4
just came out.
4.
You watched 4. I've only watched 2. And yesterday was the David Blau episode. I'm like, it hurts even harder to watch him fumble the game away in his first preseason game, knowing, dude, you're going to get replaced by Nate Sudfeld in 2 weeks. Like, I now know what happened. It hurts even more because it was like Hard Knocks was prophetic. Like they're like building, here's his Olympic wife. And I love you, honey. Like that didn't go well. You can tell he's worried he's going to get cut. And I'm watching this 24 hours after he got cut. I'm like,
man.
God, David,
my 13-year-old.
I want to climb in the TV screen and go, dude, you get caught. I want to give you a hug. You all right?
My 13-year-old walks in the room and I'm like, man, Dan Campbell's awesome. And he's like, Dad, you can have one ass cheek and 3 fingers. I still want to kick your ass. That is such a great Dan Campbell line.
I will say, like, Dan Campbell showed up last year with the Lions. And everyone thought he was wackadoodle, and I was at the front of the line.
Yeah,
I'm like, don't bite my kneecaps. You're weird. Like, just.
I thought he was going to last like 7 weeks.
Right. I'm like, chill, bro. Like
Detroit Tom Sula.
I hate that stuff when you're just like, you know what I mean? Like, you're a football coach. You're not a CIA agent. Like, calm down. Okay? But when you watch, he does bleed into you a little bit. Like he seems like an inspiring kind of good guy to be around.
He's the perfect head coach for Jared Goff, too, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Jared Goff needs a little bit of that.
Goff could be sneaky okay this year.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just watching TV.
I think they might be sneaky okay. We're going to get into that later.
Yeah, okay. Not good. I'm not going to lose it here. But yeah, they could
go 8-8.
They could be
8-9
totally. Absolutely. Yeah, they're not going to go 8-8 because that means something happened bad. But anyway, number 1 on the list is Geno Smith. Geno Smith is at
But I mean,
500.
I don't know. I disagree with that because Drew Lock looks so
Terrible.
that he probably is not going to be in the league. So I think Geno might actually have good security there. Who else is on the list?
So number 2, any guesses? Number 2 to be benched. This one's actually weird to me. This one I disagree with because who are you going to turn to? But
Kyler?
No, Kyler's not on this list. He got that contract, man. He's part of the field. He's going to be fine. Jacoby Brissett.
Okay.
Jacoby Brissett with the Cleveland Browns, but
who's their backup?
Yeah, like they cut Rosen. They're bringing him back to the practice squad. They got somebody else backing him up, but it's nobody anybody cares about. So why would you unless you're saying he's going to get benched after week 11.
Right.
Or they're
going to trade.
Geez, smart guy. Thanks for that info.
You know, they're going to trade for somebody. And then they're going to bench him in week 5.
Maybe. Okay. The next ones I think start to make sense. Marcus Mariota is 3rd.
Desmond Ridder and Mariota battling, right?
Yeah, Desmond Ridder is, Marcus Mariota feels like a placeholder. Next one, Mitch Trubisky, because they like Pickett.
Right.
And Trubisky has had weird reviews coming out of the preseason from Pickett's just flat out better to now all of a sudden Trubisky looks great, which is typical Trubisky. The Rex Grossman of today's NFL. We're like, he looked good today.
It's kind of like terrible. Purdy, too. I mean, Pickett's played a ton. He's played a lot of football, where Trubisky was a 1-year starter at North Carolina and then, hasn't played a ton of. I bet you Trubisky, if you take college starts and pro starts, may have right around the same number of starts as Pickett.
Number 5, Tua Tagovailoa in Miami with McDaniel. Again, I don't know who's scaring you. Like, who's the backup in Miami?
Is it Bridgewater? Bridgewater.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. Is Bridgewater in Miami? I think he is.
That one makes sense to me because Tua, anybody who's watched the Dolphins the last couple of years, they were better with Fitzpatrick than they were with Tua. Consistently better.
Right. So this is going to be a great referendum on Mike McDaniel, the 49ers assistant, because if they go out there And Tua looks like a completely different player. Some people will give credit to Tyreek Hill, but others will give credit to the system. I mean, this is the idea behind the system. If McDaniel is coming off of the Shanahan tree, and the Shanahan definition is whatever your quarterback is, he may be good, he may be great, whatever, he's better with me. Like that has been his statistical past, Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
Your quarterback is better if he's with me. And McDaniel's going to run that system. And if Tua pops, he's going to get a lot of credit. He's going to get a lot of credit for that.
Well, and it's a very, I don't think McDaniel, gets offered that job all the way through unless he, agreed with Chris Krueger and the former Raider executive and all these guys in Miami that drafted Tua and are invested in Tua. So I think that was one of the prerequisites in getting that Miami gig is, are you cool with Tua? If you weren't cool with Tua, then we're not cool with you.
Yeah.
So, but how long will he be cool with Tua?
Tied with Tua and in fifth place is Daniel Jones of the New York Giants.
But what didn't Tyrod just get hurt?
He did, but they said it's not that bad. And I think
Daniel
in general,
Jones is awful.
Correct. Daniel Jones should be benched. In fact, he should be cut or traded or whatever.
Go back to college.
I mean, interesting discussion about how long do you stick with your top 10 quarterback pick? Because this is year
4.
4?
Yeah, because they didn't pick up the 5th-year option on Daniel Jones, but he made some passes in the preseason that were like, dude, you need to go see a physician and check your equilibrium and find out if you got something, vertigo or something. I mean, he's throwing out patterns where he's missing guys by 8-10 feet. It's like, what? What are you doing? And he turns the ball over at just a ridiculous rate.
So who do you think is 7th in terms of who will be benched at the quarterback position this year?
7th. Trey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trey Lance. Now, this is kind of my point. Like, the fact that he's that high on the list is not good for him. It has nothing to do with what I think. It has nothing to do with my faith, my hope. And I don't think it has anything to do with any of our faith and hope, fans, media. Like, we can all have where we want this to go. But the reason that so many NFL players, coaches, so many of us here looked at that move a few days ago and went, that's not good for Trey, is this piece of paper with odds on it right here that are suggesting now, before the man has even started his first year as a starter, they're suggesting now, there's a good chance that you're going to get bumped. And
what's that based on?
We shouldn't be having that conversation because this should be the time where you would turn the keys over to Trey Lance and say, sink or swim. But we're not in sink or swim. We're in swim, or we'll do something else.
Well, I think they're all wed to Trey. I don't think you're going to see Jimmy at halftime at Soldier or anything like that.
Doesn't mean he got hurt.
But Shanahan is not going to waste another year on quarterback issues. So he wants a deep room of guys he can win with. And if he thinks Trey's going to figure it out, I think they feel like they got the right guy. But guess what? The guy's super, super raw. And for people to act surprised at this point that this obvious raw quarterback is, I don't know, raw is shocking to me. You had to take the macro view with this quarterback. It was always the big swing on the most talented prospect who needs development. And so here we are, and he's played 2 games, and Phil Simms is already talking about he didn't look good throwing the ball in the preseason. Really? I mean, I don't know. Well, now the preseason matters.
Right.
So I'm eager to see what he looks like. I've watched him this summer. Mark, I see a pretty good player. I see a guy who wants to be good, who, he's a leader on the team, who knows what he's doing, who's working hard, who's athletic, who's got escapability, who throws a really pretty Russell Wilson deep ball, like drop it in the bucket with some consistency. And I see some inconsistency in the intermediate throws and some of the short throws that should be layups for NFL quarterbacks. So the development, he's on the path. He ain't there yet. And I think he's going to for sure get there because of who he is, but it may not be this year. So how patient can we be as a fan base? And I think Shanahan 2 years ago, if this had been year 1 of the regime, would have shown total patience. But instead, it's not year 1 of the regime. He needs results. He needs a playoff berth. And so I don't think he's going to be overly patient. So I don't doubt that this is right.
Which leads, I mean, that scenario is the one that actually, like, it could be great for this year. You're right. It could be great. There's no doubt, though, if it plays that way, like if Jimmy ends up playing, if this goes away where it's like, oh, Trey's not quite ready yet, and that's okay. Let's go to Jimmy. And then the year goes somewhere good in the end. Boy, it leaves you in a very awkward position next year. That's kind of one of my points. Like the 49ers, you're going to have a hard time if Trey is too green, and we see it. You're going to have a hard time next offseason going, and now we're giving him the keys again. The public's going to be like, oh, hey now.
I know, but
that's tough. That is a tough situation.
Look at last year with Zach Wilson. Came out, struggled behind a bad line, not great receivers, but struggled. Then he got hurt. Then he came back late in the year, and I think he finished the year with
he did some good things.
I think it was like 8 touchdowns and 1 pick or something like that in the final 3 or 4 games, and he looked good, and he looked like he reestablished himself. Kind of like Joey Bart after he was called out of the minors this year. He looked totally different than the Joey Bart that got farmed out and was swinging through every pitch. So I don't know. It's not, I'll say this about Trey. I don't think it's going to be a straight line shot to the top. I think he's got huge talent, but I don't know that we're going to see him show that he's like the next Mahomes this year.
Last 5 games for Zach Wilson of the year last year, no picks, but only 3 touchdowns and only 2 games over 200 yards also. So, okay. But it's the Jets. It's the Jets. By the way, the final 3 in the top 10 likely to be benched. Tannehill is 8. Justin Fields is 9. Jameis Winston is number 10. The rest are all in the field. All right. Coming up next, 888-957-9570. Wait till you hear what Richard Sherman has to say about this. And Aaron Donald's just a wee bit uncomfortable interview that you're going to want to hear as well. Larry's in for Dibs. It's 95.7 The Game.
Coming this Labor Day. I'm dead serious. Take a seat at the Red and Gold Round Table.
Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Hell yeah!
Monty Hill, Kyle Madsen, and Damon Bruce bring you 4 straight hours of 49ers talk.
Don't do that to Jimmy. Come on.
The Red and Gold Round Table, Monday morning from 6 to 10 on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New gigabit extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
Circle K Fuel Day.
What's Circle K Fuel Day?
A celebration. 40 cents off per gallon. Look for the Circle K on the fuel pumps. Circle K Fuel Day.
That's right. September 1st from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., Circle K Fuel is dropping the price by 40 cents per gallon to celebrate the long weekend. We're even helping out on snacks with special deals on in-store items all month long. Up to 40 cents off per gallon in certain states in accordance with applicable law. 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. only. Price on pump reflects discounted price during that time.
Golfers, tee it up this year at the Golf Mart for the hottest new arrivals from Callaway. Featuring the new Rogue ST drivers, Callaway's most stable driver ever, with tungsten speed cartridge, jailbreak speed frame, and AI flash face. Engineered for max speed and forgiveness. 4 different models to fit every golfer's needs. Think speed, go Rogue. Swing by the Golf Mart and get custom fit for the new Rogue ST drivers today. The Golf Mart, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
We all know someone who's all work and no chill. Trust me, that used to be me. But then I found Galaxy Z Fold 4, which allows me to do more things at once. Much better. Now I can take video calls from my phone and use it to take notes at the same time.
Wait, are you at the spa?
Or check my shopping list while ordering more scented candles and face masks on a foldable, expansive screen. Don't take your to-do list one line at a time. Multitask so you can relax.
Get the new Galaxy Z Fold 4 at Samsung.com today.
Are you looking for a rewarding new career? Join the United States Postal Service and apply for roles nationwide. Serve your community with pride and receive benefits, including competitive pay and opportunities for advancement. Whether you are looking for full-time, part-time, or seasonal positions, we have options that may be perfect for you. The United States Postal Service is an equal opportunity employer. Apply now at USPS.com/careers.
Whether you're buying a new car or used one, it's a big investment, which is why you should choose Pennzoil Platinum. It helps extend the life of your engine and protect it up to 15 years or 500,000 miles, whichever comes first, guaranteed. That's because Pennzoil's base oil is made from natural gas and 99.5% free from engine clogging impurities. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Enrollment required. Keep your receipts. Other conditions apply. See Pennzoil.com/warranty for full details. Find it at Firestone Complete Auto Care.
Some fans gear up for game day, but some fans follow their team every day. That's why the Locked On Podcast Network has a daily podcast for your favorite NFL team. Every trade, every overtime win, every game. Our local experts cover the biggest stories around your team every day. Search Locked On plus your favorite NFL team on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts. The Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-200-1966. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-200-1966. That's 800-200-1966 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
All right, Larry is here in for Dibs. It's all sponsored by Fremont Bank, full service banking, no compromises. Have we made up? Are we okay?
I'm good, dude.
I was sports mad at you today.
I know,
but I feel like we've taken some
I have a feeling
strides.
that, we've been sports mad at each other.
That's true.
Many times, actually.
That's very true.
We've actually done stuff with our families and we get along good, but
even with our dogs.
Yeah. Even though you stole my dog's name, which is very.
I'd like to give it back. I've confided in you when my kids are not around that I don't like my dog's name. It doesn't fit her.
My dog was freaked out last night, by the way, Mark. We had power outage in Walnut Creek at like 1:00 in the morning.
Oh, that's no good. Well, how could you tell?
Because all of a sudden there was a huge explosion and everything. Oh, no, I was watching TV.
You're still up at 1 in the morning?
I never go to bed.
Are you a maniac?
Yeah, no, I am, I guess.
Gosh, I haven't seen one. Actually, I did see one in the morning.
What time do you go to bed?
Oh, well, normally.
I go to bed. If I tell my kids, if I go to bed before 1 a.m., I'm probably going to die.
I'm an 11:30 guy. I'm an 11:30 guy, but I mean, that's usually after passing out on the couch for an hour till. Like, I can't stay awake. I've told you this. Like, when people go, have you watched fill in the blank? No, I tried. I fell asleep.
Yeah, well, that's like the Giants. I fall asleep almost every night watching
that. Did you watch the Giants game? I tried.
I watched the first, the second, the eighth, the ninth.
Yeah, like, dude, if I stop, you know me. Like, I'm moving, man. If I stop, gone.
Right.
Gone. It's amazing I drive anywhere without falling asleep. But anyway, you were saying power outage.
Power outage, the dog freaks out. It was like, it was 1 o'clock in the morning and like it was already kind of dark in the house, but there was only a couple lights on. But once all the lights went off, she, I found a flashlight and put it up on the wall and just basically leaned it up there on the so anyway, I guess it came back on like 4 o'clock in the morning, but that always sucks. If you're watching something late at night, watching a movie, and all of a sudden, boom, gone.
I'd like to rename the dog. You can have Penny. I'd like to rename her Redwood. That's what I wanted to name her.
Right.
But I've tried and she doesn't answer to that.
She doesn't answer to Redwood.
I'm like, hey, Redwood. And she's just like, no. She answers to Penny.
And her name before Penny was what?
Tulip.
Yeah,
that's what the shelter.
Yeah.
We're like, well, it's not that. I don't know what her name is, but I know not that.
Right. Tulip.
Well, especially like it's funny that you name a puppy and it's like it fits when they're this big. And then 2 months later, you're like, we just named this 65-pound athletic, sleek machine Tulip.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Well,
what the hell are we doing?
This guy at the dog park the other day was like, he had an accent and he's like, I forget, it was like a European accent. He's like, Maximilian. And then I'm like, you ever go with just Max? He's like, no, he only answers to Maximilian. Like, all right, bro.
Yeah, that's a lot. That sounds pretty intense. Sounds like they've got a very tight bedtime at their house. Let's pass this along. More discussion from John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. John Lynch said, this is just news and notes I'll throw at you. You tell me if you believe this. John Lynch says there absolutely were talks in camp, requests by other teams to trade for Trey Sermon. But they said no. And today they hope he passes through waivers. They'd love to have him on the practice squad.
I would too.
1 o'clock deadline on that.
Interesting. They went with Jordan Mason, who looked great, over Trey Sermon, who looked tentative. I think that would be the word I would use. He looked good. I'll say this. If you watch the practices, he looked good in practice. He really did. He looked quicker, faster through the hole, more decisive. When it got into the games, to me, the one that cost him his roster spot was the 4th down run where he danced.
Totally. In Houston, he was actually having a good game.
Yeah.
And then it was 4th and 2, and they handed him the ball, and he just went, I'm not sure where to go here.
And it's like hit the hole hard and push the pile.
Just try.
Yeah. Instead, he's like a little bit left. He's looking for a cutback. Don't look for the cutback.
And then also this from John Lynch, quote, combine time. This is on Garoppolo and any potential trade in the offseason. Combine time, there were really serious talks, probably 2 to 3 teams that I felt like this was going to happen. And then when the news broke of the shoulder surgery, then things went the way they went. This is a direct quote. Cam Inman, our guy, is tweeting this out. Back to the quote. I'm glad we've arrived where we're at. We're happy he's here. End quote.
Is Trey glad? Did you hear Peter King with Damon and Ratto?
Some of it, yes.
Questioning Trey's psyche. That's really the question. It's a great move for the Niners. It's a great move for the team. Guys get hurt all the time.
Totally.
Is it a great move for Trey's psyche? That is the biggest question.
Well, and I know sometimes maybe because a lot of people will immediately arrive at if Trey can't handle this, then he's not your dude. Okay, like I'm with you. So let's not just make it about his psyche. How about if I just ended the sentence at Trey? Is this good for Trey? My answer would be no. I don't even really see how you could argue it otherwise. Like, no, it's not good for Trey. It's not good for Trey to have Jimmy flipping Garoppolo on the sideline.
Well, I think it is good for Trey. Here's why. Here's the argument I'd make. Because we always look at things and we always think of things as he failed. What if he plays great and he gets to week 6 and he has a 5-week injury? And now you got Garoppolo in there. Garoppolo wins, goes 4-1 in those games. Now Trey comes back late in the year and he's quarterbacking a playoff team, and now he's getting to establish himself as a playoff competitor and kind of take hold of the leadership of the team. They may not have made the playoffs without Garoppolo. So it really kind of depends how it plays.
Totally. There's scenarios that could go either way. Richard Sherman on his podcast said this yesterday. It's going to sound like he agrees with you, and it also is part of what I'm concerned about. So here's Richard Sherman.
Why not have two engines? Hey, I got a Ferrari, and I just got this freaking brand new engine, 700 horsepower. Now, I got another engine that's about 500 horsepower. I know it. I've had it for years. I know exactly what I get. But this one can really take me there. Now, I don't know if it's going to blow out on the road. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's faster. They put that engine in. So why not keep the other one? You don't have to throw the other one away. Jimmy's happy with it. Trey's happy with it. The only people that aren't happy with it are the people on the outside. Like, hey, if he misses Kittle on this route, or Debo gets upset, or what if that happens in Jimmy's playing? If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. Blackout drunk. We'd be on the sidewalk. Hung out. Like, ain't no ifs.
Okay, so there's Richard, which there are two things that popped in my mind.
Man.
First
He's
of all,
awesome.
Fantastic. I think Richard Sherman and Draymond Green feel like phenomenal Hall of Fame careers that may end up only getting better as podcasters. I mean, they're built for it.
He was my go-to guy.
Yeah, how could he not be?
He was my go-to guy. Before him, it was Whitner and Boone. But then, recent years, Richard Sherman. And he was so good with his time, man. You go up to him in the locker room. He'd be putting on his suit. He'd be ready to go. He'd be walking out the door. He'd be like, hey, Richard, you got a minute? Yeah, I got a minute.
Yeah,
really,
absolutely.
Solid guy.
No, I'm a big Richard Sherman fan, except for when he keeps the Niners out of the Super Bowl. But anyway, his point here. First off, I wonder how Jimmy would react to, so Trey is 700 horsepower, and you're over here 5. You're just at 500. And I don't know if you're going to break and blah, blah, blah. But the larger point he's saying, which is I think is a lot of 49er fans thought, is why not? Why not? And he in and of himself is the type of player to where I would answer, well, here's why not. Because as you're saying, keep this thing around in case you need it. Well, wouldn't Richard Sherman actually be the exact type of player, if this had been a year or two ago, who probably would go to Kyle if the season's not going well and say, hey, you put the old engine back in the car. So, yes, why not from a global sense, from a 49er sense, but not for Trey's sense.
Yeah,
Like
I don't know. I mean, how do you look at things? Do you look at things as a me or as a we? You know, I mean, do you look at yourself as like a host, or do you look at yourself as part of a team on this radio station? If there was a great radio host that could be added to your mix that would help you beat the other side, would you want him?
Are you talking about yourself again?
I'm just saying. I'm not saying myself. I'm not saying myself. I'm saying
there literally is a text on our board. 415. Did Larry Krueger coming to 95.7 The Game affect Mark Willard's psyche? You know, not until this morning. It didn't. It did today.
Yes.
But no.
Yes.
Other than that, no.
But I want to win. You know what I mean? I want to be part of a win. Now, it's also about how much confidence you have. I think I got a lot of confidence. But you know what? I think Trey does too. I think you're going to see
I
it.
agree with that.
So I think Trey's got a ton of confidence. And I think everybody, he's got somebody, he's looking over his shoulder and he's got to be good. But do you believe that competition makes people better, or does it make them worse because they're always insecure about who's coming up behind them? It could be, true, and it could be either could be true.
I'm not worried about his confidence. I'm not worried about his psyche. I'm worried about his leash. Well, you're looking at 2022 only.
Well,
but aren't you also?
No, I'm not, because I think.
But Jimmy's not even going to be here past 2022. So if you're excited about Jimmy, you're only looking at 2022. I guess
I'm excited about 2022 because Jimmy's here.
That's fine. But
more excited.
And fair, fine, agreed. ... Trey's leash got shorter. Agreed.
Trey's the patience that Kyle has to show is not going to be as great because he's got better options.
So that's
I think Purdy's a good option.
Wow.
Maybe I'm the only one who thinks that. But you know what?
You're the only one excited about it.
I am.
We just went through NFL backup quarterbacks and we can't even name them. And
I'm super sold on Purdy.
You watch
man.
videos of him when you get home, don't you?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even, he's already here. Like you can stop scouting him now.
I know.
He made the team.
I know, but I am excited by him because he does do it like really, really effortlessly. I mean, I know he's a little small and people see Mullins and I get it. But he's played great.
When he threw the ball right to that Houston linebacker, I
was a little crestfallen.
Right. Like I don't say that to point at Brock. He's the 7th round. Fine. Like
you didn't see him. Never saw him. The guy, if you watch the highlight,
I'm with
the
you.
linebacker hid behind the D lineman.
That sneaky linebacker.
He really did.
How dare he hide? I just want to know how you felt because you love him so much.
Oh, I loved him.
And
I still love him.
When he threw it right to the Houston linebacker, I'm like, what happens in the Krueger household when that went down?
I looked at my 13-year-old. See, my 13-year-old.
Did you pet Penny?
Christopher and we're like the captains of the Brock Purdy fan club. Like we're like soul brothers in our Purdyism.
Really?
Yeah, he believes too. I believe and he believes. He believes, and he'll say to me, "Dad, dime." He'll walk in the room.
Really? Do you realize if we see him play this year, things have gone horribly, horribly wrong?
I know. I think they can win games with Brock Purdy.
I'm not even here to debate.
I think that's how good they are.
I'm here to write down 3 things that I don't want to have happen this year, and that's number 1 on the list is Brock Purdy playing.
Just when he plays and he plays good. Just remember
I will. I'll send you a Sarah McLachlan song if it happens. Okay, but
he got a little pretty mouth, ain't he?
I believe in the kid because you know what? There's a big. It's like funny when you watch quarterbacks. They get the same coverages, the same this, the same that. Some guys can make it happen. Other guys are terrible. So it's literally like how well do you see it? How well do you process it? How good your footwork? How accurate are you? The guy plays the position at a pretty high level. Yeah, so I'm impressive. Now, granted, it was preseason. It was against 2nd and 3rd teamers. It has to be accounted, but he also had a collegiate career. And he looked great in the mini camp. He looked great in the training camp.
You don't need to convince. They obviously saw something too.
Yeah. I'd love to talk to Kyle about it.
They bumped him ahead of Nate Sudfeld, who they had given guaranteed money to.
Yeah. So we'll wind up with Detroit today.
Yeah, who did. Yeah. Back to Hard Knocks. R.I.P. David Blau's career. Sorry about that. I hope he gets picked up somewhere else.
Sudfeld's better than Blau.
Great. Whatever. Honestly, whatever. But yeah, I think it's great. I hope we never have this conversation on 95.7 The Game or even in our living rooms, because if we see Brock Purdy play, things have gone just woefully out of control for the 49ers this year.
RG3, where is he? Kirk Cousins, where's he?
The RG3 would be doing media.
Right. Kirk Cousins is a multi-millionaire making $20 million a year.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying
the 3rd round pick over the 1st round pick.
Sometimes it's not,
You're not suggesting that Brock Purdy is better than Trey Lance, are you?
I'm just saying he does. Forget Trey Lance. Forget the comparison to Trey Lance. He does things that are the same way. He sees it. He sees it. The ball comes out on time. It's accurate. He plays with tempo. He's tough. He's athletic. He's smart. There's a lot of traits to like about Brock.
I know you want to get into some Gabe Kapler stuff.
Yes,
and actually, not only that, there's something that happened in the Giants game yesterday that I just need to, I don't know if you noticed, I came in with a bunch of junk to get off my chest today. Wow, there's something that happened in the Giants game. Forget who won the game. Forget the Giants season. I am so bothered by something that happened in this game yesterday. And we'll get
fan-related, ump-related?
I'll tell you. We're doing a little bit. But I want to play this real quick because this caught my attention yesterday too. And Zach Gelb with CBS Sports Radio is actually going to hop on with us in about 40 minutes.
Good get.
Yeah, and he's got the video of the day on the internet for sure. And just to let everyone behind the curtain a little bit about how this stuff ends up happening sometimes, not always, when a big time athlete gets put on a radio or TV show, sometimes it's because they're doing PR. Sometimes it's because they're just really nice and somebody's got a relationship and sure, whatever. But you'll notice,
Barry Bonds is opening a bagel shop and suddenly he's available.
Poof, we're doing the Warrior games here on 95.7, right?
Right.
Normally on the shows, it's Wednesday, whatever, who's coming on the show. It's usually not Steph, Clay, and Dre. It's usually Looney, GP2, Poole, right? You get it?
Moses Moody, we talked to a few weeks ago.
Right. When the big boy comes, it's because there are dollars attached. And so the way this works is somebody with a show, a producer will get an email, okay? And it's a PR firm. Would you like to talk to Aaron Donald? Aaron Donald will be available on Wednesday from 5 to 6:30 Pacific time if you can make plans. And you're like, sure, I'd love to have Aaron Donald on the show. Great. Here's what Aaron's promoting. And then you get this little piece of paper that's like what you're supposed to read, or you're supposed to lead Aaron into it. And then you get to talk to him and do the stuff that people want to hear about. And at the end, hey, Aaron, so what is it you're doing these days? Oh, well, I'm working with...
Kind of like a Super Bowl media row interview.
Right.
Tell us about Teltronics. You know,
I'm working with Bob's Skincare. And let me tell you why. It helps me be a great athlete. So Zach Gelb with CBS gets one of these with Aaron Donald.
Right.
And Zach, like a G, is like, we're only talking about you swinging helmets, bro. I don't care about your whatever the hell it is you're promoting. We're talking about swinging helmets. And then he's like, I don't want to talk about swinging helmets. And he's like, cool, my show. We're talking about swinging helmets. PR lady comes in, whole thing goes sideways. Take a listen.
Practices, because we all saw the video of you swinging helmets and people were wondering what was going on there.
It was just a practice. You know, obviously people got phones out and things like that, but I'm not going to sit and talk about negative stuff that happened at a practice. My main focus is Buffalo. So,
was there any internal punishment?
We talked. So,
were you thinking maybe you were going to get suspended or anything?
Hey, Zach.
I wasn't worried about it. So,
yeah, we're just going to focus just here because Aaron's here today to talk about Dr. Teals. So you do have 2 minutes left if you want to pivot to your last question, please.
No, okay. Just one more thing, Aaron, on this, and I'll get to Dr. Teals. Like, what sparked it? Just wondering, because I think people are curious about it.
Well, being a guy that's 31 years old, my main focus is football. Obviously, the physical part you do, but it's more about the recovery thing that I need to do, and being a partner with Dr. Teals and be able to use Dr. Teals 2 or 3 times a week to help my body recover. And, you know, I usually soak 15, 20 minutes in the tub, help me to be able to play at a high level and be productive. So, you learn a lot more as you get older, as far as it ain't all about work. You know, you got to take care of your body and make sure that you're able to play at a high level and be able to partner with Dr. Teals, a product that I actually use and love. Been great for me the past few years, and I'm going to continue to do it as long as I can play at a high level and doing everything I need to do to take care of my body so I can be able to perform. So.
Good for him.
Hey, Zach. So I know we're on your show, but let me tell you what we're going to talk about. And Zach's like, cool. No, we're not. Dude. And actually the only thing, and I'll tell Zach this at 11 because he just did a phenomenal job there where he's like, whatever. Like Aaron Donald's ever going to come on this show again anyway. Let's shoot our shot. This is what everybody wants to know about. I would have loved, and maybe this would have been too combative, but when Aaron Donald says, like, what about this swinging helmets? And he's like, yeah, it's practice. Do you think that the Bengals who are being whacked in the head by your helmet think, it's just practice? I would have loved Zach to say, Aaron, how do you justify this? It's practice. It's football. What in the hell are you talking about? It's neither of those things.
It's aggravated assault with a deadly weapon within the framework of an NFL practice.
What on earth? And then PR lady, like, wait, Dr. Teals. Oh my God. Like,
well, I feel bad for her too, because
she's doing her job.
Yeah, it's her job.
But I mean, you can't, again, you're using, if you're Zach, I'm like, you're using my show to get your word out. And now you're telling me, like, the whole idea
it's
of
all
that
about
is,
how it's explained.
It is a give and take. It's a give and take. Yes, you can use my show to promote your thing, if then I am allowed to ask the questions that people want asked.
Right.
That's what it is.
And you can't have this sellout, everybody's got a product and we're just going to sit there and talk about your something that makes your feet odor go away or something. You know what I mean? Come on. I mean, seriously, you got to expect. I got involved in a conversation with a 49er player, was Eric Armstead, at an event a few weeks ago, where I thought it was going to be a regular interview like the one that we just had, where we just listened to, where it was going to be like ask Eric about the foundation and then ask Eric other questions. And when I got to the interview, it was clear that it was going to be kind of a group powwow all about the foundation, and there was no room for questions. So that's always kind of a bummer, but you know what? You got to kind of roll with it. Yeah. And as long as it's kind of discussed up front, or if you're a media person working on a deadline, that's one thing, as opposed to like us, where we're just, talking. We want to get a great interview if we can get one. It's a little different.
Yeah. I mean, part of the reason that this also caught my attention is the original story caught my attention. Aaron Donald should completely be suspended. And it's very, very odd to me that the NFL did not have jurisdiction over this. Only the Rams did, because it was quote unquote practice, but it was a joint practice. Like, has anybody gone to the Bengals and been like, oh, how do you feel about this? Your players are getting whacked in the head with a deadly weapon by one of the most powerful men in this league, and you have no say over what happens to him. You okay with that?
Well, I mean, that's the other thing too. Just because it happened in the framework of a practice, now you can do things that that's not a football play. Show me the football play where you take off your helmet and hit a guy, or you take off another guy's helmet and you hit him, with a helmet. I mean, that's assault. That's going to knock somebody out, give them a major concussion, cave in their eye socket or anything, break their jaw. Totally. I mean, that's like that Bertuzzi in the NHL game where he got behind the guy and he pile drove him into the ice. That wasn't a hockey hit.
And he ended up in court.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, it was assault within a hockey game.
It's a tough play because it's football, where you're like, well, there is assault on every play. But I think your point is good. Like, first of all, they weren't in the middle of a play. And second of all, where's the football move where you take your helmet off and start swinging it at people? We've seen this before. We saw it with Myles Garrett, suspended. We saw it with Kyle Turley, suspended. Like, suspended. Like, you cannot do that. And for him to be like, well, it was practice. Well, hell, you just opened your door to a lot of stuff in practice now.
Yeah. I mean, they're in
practices now. Like,
we see the guys get away with this. Remember that one of the most famous baseball highlights is Albert Bell running into Fernando Vina. That was not a baseball play. He gave him an elbow to the head, knocked him down. Right. I've seen a couple basketball plays where guys are going up for dunks and guys take them out, and I'm thinking, man, that's not a basketball play. So it's. To me, that has to be judged, and I'm surprised the league didn't jump in.
They can't. Apparently, this is like a CBA
Even
rule.
In a joint practice, I believe there's NFL officials officiating
that
these practices.
That was the word. That's what surprised me, because it was a joint practice. I think it's kind of weird even if it's just a regular practice, but it's a joint practice. But the league had no jurisdiction. Rams only. Rams were the host. You handle it.
What if he busted out a nunchucks and went to town on somebody in the middle? Hey, man, it's practice. And he just had him in his back pocket, and he was pissed.
Well, he definitely wasn't coming on the Zach Gelb show 2 weeks later. Then he got nunchucks out. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. No, they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything, and I love it. Yeah. Did the Rams do anything? Yeah, we talked. Oh, good.
Yeah,
Sean
I
McVay's like,
love to see that talk.
So don't do that. Okay, great. Our meeting is done.
Yeah.
Like, that's how that went.
That was probably like a little league conversation. Like, couch your negative comment between two positive comments. Hey, Aaron, you're looking great. You're looking great. I don't think I've ever seen you look better. Hey, maybe not the controlled assault thing. Hey, by the way, did you see what we're eating for lunch? It's going to be awesome. I'll see you in there.
Love the effort.
Love the effort. The enthusiasm is awesome, and the guys are really feeding off of it.
Maybe less helmet hitting, but other than that, just you're doing great, and you make more money than me. So let's move on.
Yeah.
All right. 888-957-9570. Your phone calls next. It's all sponsored by the Valley Transit Authority. And by the way, just yes or no, and then we'll hear from, do you feel like Kapler threw the players under the bus yesterday?
No, I think he threw Farhan under the bus.
Okay. All right. Let's let everybody hear that. We'll do that coming up next. Larry's in for Dibs, Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game.
I'm Chelsea Messenger, helping you beat the books with BetQL. Milwaukee and Arizona meet for the first time this season as the teams start a 4-game set on Thursday. The Brewers are still chasing a wild card spot in the NL and are hoping to bust out the Bats. The over is hitting 8 of the last 9 games for Arizona and is 5-1-1 for the Brewers in their last 7 road games. Take those trends, and the 5-star BetQL 5-star play of the day is the over in the game between Milwaukee and Arizona.
Staples has everything for school at great prices. So this year you won't go back to school. You'll be ready to move forward and master 5th grade math.
I can't do this. It's impossible.
Not you, Dad, your daughter. Staples will help her move forward.
Right.
Right now, Staples comp books and number 2 pencils are just 50 cents each. Plus, 2 pocket paper folders are only 25 cents each. Everything on your list at amazing prices. Staples, we're not going back. We're going forward to school. Ends 9/3. In-store only, limit 30.
Coming this Labor Day.
I'm dead serious.
Take a seat at the Red and Gold Round Table.
Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Hell yeah!
Monty Hill, Kyle Madsen, and Damon Bruce bring you 4 straight hours of 49ers talk.
Don't do that to Jimmy. Come on.
The Red and Gold Round Table, Monday morning from 6 to 10 on 95.7. The Game.
Circle K Fuel Day.
What's Circle K Fuel Day?
A celebration. 40 cents off per gallon. Look for the Circle K on the fuel pumps. Circle K Fuel Day.
That's right. September 1st from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., Circle K Fuel is dropping the price by 40 cents per gallon to celebrate the long weekend. We're even helping out on snacks with special deals on in-store items all month long. Up to 40 cents off per gallon in certain states in accordance with applicable law. 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. only. Price on pump reflects discounted price during that time.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Attention veterans. If you were stationed at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you and your family may be victims of toxic water poisoning. You could be awarded financial compensation for your suffering. Cancers, birth defects, deadly illnesses have all been linked to the contaminated water. Congress is now holding the government accountable, but you must act now. Get your free case review. Call True Law at 877-560-8555, 877-560-8555, or visit sickvets.com. That's sickvets.com.
At Left Coast Buyers, we buy properties all over California. If you own a house or an apartment building and want to sell it fast at a great price, call us at 925-434-5000. We can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. We buy properties in any condition, any price range. Do you own a property that is run down and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Are you out of time, money, and energy? Are you looking for an easy way to get top dollar for your property and sell on your terms and timeline? Well, call Left Coast Buyers now at at 925-434-5000. We buy divorce houses, inherited houses. We even buy vacant houses and abandoned houses. Do you have a tenant who hasn't paid? Are you behind on property taxes, mortgage payments, or even facing a foreclosure? Even if you're just nervous about capital gains or an upcoming recession, we've seen it all. So if you or someone you know owns a property and needs to sell, call Left Coast Buyers at 925-434-5000. That's 925-434-5000.
Don't waste your time trying to sell your old car. Donate it to Cars for Kids. It's the easiest and fastest way to donate your car and get a tax deduction. Donate online at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
TrackPhone wants to know, are you an influencer, a big live streamer? No? Then guess what? You don't need an endless data plan. Get just the right amount of data with TrackPhone's $40 unlimited talk and text smartphone plan. Now with 8 gigs of high-speed data and unlimited carryover on America's largest, most dependable network, now with 5G. Get the data you need at the price you want. TrackPhone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. 5G compatible device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at trackphone.com.
The Labor Day event from Dell Technologies is here. End the summer strong by starting up a new season of productivity. Your business upgrade begins with up to 48% off top-rated laptops, like Vostro, taking performance to the next level with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. It's time to push your growing business even further. What's next for you? Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Nachos!
Hey, I'll take some.
And some Frank's Red Hot.
Nah.
You're just gonna eat these boring nachos with no flavor. Frank it up! Frank it up! This guy finally gets it.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
The Stadium Tour is rocking the Bay Area. September 7th at Oracle Park, featuring Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, and Joe Jett and the Blackhearts. For more info and tickets, visit livenation.com.
Now, back to Willard and Dibbs on 95.7 The Game.
Oh, hang on. I've been meaning to do this because we got a good YouTube crowd today. And I've been meaning to do this, and you keep talking my ear off during the breaks, Larry.
How you doing, YouTube crowd?
No. Hang on. What's up, y'all? Okay. I'm sending that out. We're watching you the same way that you're watching us. YouTube and Twitch, hello. Thank you so much for not just listening, but looking at us. That's weird, but thank you very much for staring at us while we're doing this. And then text line, Comcast Business text line. Thanks for being with us. Phone calls, 888-957-9570. Two things came out of the Giants game yesterday that were weird, that had nothing to do with the game and the standings. So we'll get to that in a second. But I want to get out to peeps on the phone here. Chris and Modesto, you're on with Mark Willard, Larry Krueger, who's in for Dibbs, 95.7 The Game. What's up, Chris? What are you doing?
Hey, what's going on? I'm from Modesto, but I'm currently at Kramer Junction, pulled over on the side of the road. I'm a truck driver, but I wanted to comment on something you said earlier, if that was okay.
Of course.
There's going to be trains.
Wow, man, the train's going by. Get off the tracks.
Be safe, Chris. Be safe. Good Lord.
Over there at the Ravens.
So, I'm sorry. Yeah. Joe Flacco. Go ahead. What'd you want to say?
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that if, obviously the Denver was showing up to trade with a 4th rounder, and they gave up they covered the $18.5 million base salary. You think that if Denver didn't show up for that trade, and Flacco didn't have anybody else to cover his base salary, but yet he still wanted to stay on the Ravens, you don't think they would have renegotiated a contract much like they did with Jimmy?
Chris, I'm gonna answer this straight up. I really don't. Now, I'm also going to add in, you've painted some very, very accurate portraits of how different that was than this. right? And it probably would have been similar had Jimmy not had to get shoulder surgery. We all agree on that.
Right.
If it hadn't been for his shoulder surgery, there probably would have been a deal. He would have been elsewhere. But my main point, even though I acknowledge all of the things about this that do set it apart and make it a little bit different than others in history, I also do want to point out that the norm for always and forever is that when you got your first round guy and you're ready to hand him the keys, you clean out the garage and you make it easy for him to park the car. Like that is the way that the NFL does it. You don't put a question or put something on a guy's back when you're sending him out there to do this for the first time, because it's really hard. Like what Trey Lance is about to do, and you've detailed it, right? He has not played a ton of football, and he did not play at a big college. Like, this is really hard what he's going to go be asked to do. And he, in a perfect world, would have the full faith and time and patience and everything to go do that. I get why it isn't that. I understand the 49er roster, the shoulder, all of those things. But everybody's got to acknowledge this is not perfect for Trey's in-year longevity. It's not.
They've dialed up the heat on Trey.
Definitely.
And basically made it so if he struggles, they have options. And is that good for Trey? Maybe it's good. I mean, I think, competition makes everybody better. If it makes him better, if it makes him look at his playbook longer, if it makes him look at the game plan longer, if it makes him a little bit more dedicated to his craft, because he could potentially lose his job. So is he motivated out of everybody's motivated by something different. Some people are motivated by money, others by fear. If he's motivated by fear, maybe it's a good thing.
I've not been struck by him in any way, shape, or form that he was short on motivation. And I'd also argue that he already was in a race against Jimmy Garoppolo, but not the current Jimmy Garoppolo. He was in a race against what Garoppolo was over the last 5 years. Trey Lance is taking over a Super Bowl ready roster, and it's a roster that has been to the NFC title game twice in the last 3 years. And so that was his bar already. Like if he comes in, and I don't think anyone was demanding that in year one, like we get what's going on here, but don't you think within the first 3 years, if Trey hasn't gone on at least one seemingly deep playoff run, people's arms would be up and say, why'd you get rid of Jimmy?
It's interesting because this team's different than most teams. Most teams, I think you're right, the quarterback would come in and be like the central figure, the star, the face of the team. With the 49ers, it always feels like Jimmy wasn't necessarily that, like Kyle was that. And now I'm getting the feeling that maybe Kyle is still that. You know what I mean? Kyle can win with different quarterbacks. Kyle's offense is the star of the show more so than the quarterback. Maybe that will evolve over time, but it seems like a little bit different dynamic because of Kyle's stature as maybe the preeminent play caller in the game.
Maybe, but I think the thought has been throughout Jimmy's tenure that it's like you got this Kyle offense. If you just had a quarterback in here that was dynamic to go with it, you'd be unbeatable. You'd be unbeatable. Like there's Kyle, and that gets this whole thing right on. Like look at the Final Four last year. What do we got? Or even the Final 8 in the playoffs. What do you got? It's just all the best quarterbacks.
Yeah. And then that's typically what it is.
Right. And then there's Kyle. Then Kyle's over here like, what? So if you just gave one of those quarterbacks to Kyle, and I know it's easier said than done, but hasn't that been the preeminent thought? Man, if you married these two things, it'd be bananas. You'd be unbeatable.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's the belief. And also, we'll see. I mean, Jimmy was in a weird spot last year with Trey looking over his shoulder and the possibility of a divided room. He handled it. Trey handled it. The team handled it. Can they do it this year when the roles are reversed? We're going to find out. But it does complicate things. It does dial up the heat on Trey Lance, but maybe that's a good thing. Well, I think the kid can handle it. I really do. And I think he's going to play at a really high level, and then he's going to make this point moot. I think we're going to be talking about Garoppolo trade destinations in October.
I just think I'm already like energy turned up for Monday, September 12th show. I'm already turned up, which by the way, I think you're in with me.
Am I?
I think
the
you
day
are.
After the opener?
Yes. And I'm glad that
is going to be a great sports radio day.
Right. We get to continue that conversation that day because there are two ways that day can go. It can be like
elation
yes, or controversy.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's a middle ground. If you grind out 24-14 and Trey's okay, then I guess it's just like, oh, you're right. Like, yeah, there's some patience. It's brand new. But if he looks great, like, oh man, now you're loaded for bear. You got
if he looks great, there'll be the people saying it's the Bears. If he looks bad, it's going to be like, and time to go to Jimmy.
There's Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
But if he looks great, like immediately you could feel like, okay, now you're bulletproof because now you got your guy, and if he gets hurt, you get Jimmy. But if he looks bad, it's immediately a thing.
One question I got to ask you, and I meant to ask you the other day, and it wasn't necessarily official. I think it's official now. We have not seen any 49er representative, not Kyle, not John, no players on any platform of social media weigh in one way or another on this thing. They've totally stayed away. Is that their own call, or do you think Kyle sat there and said, guys, this is how I think we should handle this? Do you think Kyle talked to the team, or do you think he's just got a team full of guys that, for whatever reason, decided on their own to not take to social media and have any comment, pro, con, or anything? There's nobody's touched this in any way, shape, or form. Right. Is it? I
mean, other than the conference call, but you're talking about social media.
I'm saying nobody's on their own giving their thoughts.
It's a great observation that feels like
orchestrated.
It's like, I don't know about orchestrated, but it feels like in a meeting room, did Kyle say, so let's not feed the animals?
Right.
Right. Because they're out there. You're going to hear them. Like, sure, at minimum, you have that conversation separately with your QBs, and then you probably do it to the whole room. Because, yeah, if I'm a receiver, if I'm Debo, I've already done a lot on social media this summer.
Right.
If I'm Debo, I might have something to say about this. Right. But no one has. So it's
anything, nothing.
Not a word.
I mean, not a hint.
Not even one of those.
Yeah.
Not even one of the like sort of passive aggressive things that we see.
Not like Ayuk saying he didn't want to how dumb the practices were in Minneapolis or whatever, Egan, Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Stu in San Leandro. Hey, Stu, you're on with Mark and Larry. What are you doing?
Hey guys, how you guys doing today?
Yeah, well, great. How are you?
Well, I'm on my way into the 99-cent store here to buy some stuff, but it's good to hear Larry, man. I haven't heard Larry in so long, and you guys are doing a great job. But
well, where the heck were you on Tuesday, Stu? He was right here.
Seriously, Stu, you got to get with it.
Well, listen, I'm 8 years older than Ray, so I'm a little slow. But here's the ball game. When I think of those people that are getting in fights and hitting people on baseball diamond and stuff, I thought that they were, supposed to be kind of role models for the little youngsters that were playing Little League like I was. And we didn't even have a team in 1957, and I was 10. So we were collecting, cards and things, but most of them were from St. Louis because we were mostly St. Louis fans. And all that kind of stuff happened. And then I see over and over and over again Charlie Hustle taking on Ray Fosse and ruining Ray's career. And I didn't think that was appropriate. That's why I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I thought he did that on purpose. But anyway, never mind. And then, of course, the guy that hit Posey, like
Scott Cousins.
Scott Cousins, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying, though?
Totally, yeah, Stu. And I know, and just for people, and Stu, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And spend it all on the 99-cent store. Get yourself a $20 bill and just go bananas, all right? Like, just fill the cart. But Stu is referring to the conversation we were having about Aaron Donald earlier, and Zach Gelb, who did the interview, is going to join us in about 15 minutes. But it sounds like Stu was almost ahead of his time, because I remember not that I remember, I don't even know if I was alive yet. What year did the Pete Rose Ray Fosse thing happen?
Early 70s.
Yeah,
early 70s.
So I wasn't even here yet.
I was too young to watch it.
Yeah, but the thought then, oh gosh, come on, gussy up. Like, this is sports. Like, come on, rub some dirt on it and let's beat each other up a little bit. Stu's like, it bothered him at the time. But it's different now. It's different. And I'd also set apart what we're talking about in a situation like Donald. You brought up Bertuzzi. If you're swinging a helmet or a stick, Latrell Sprewell, all of this stuff, like I don't know how we can get ourselves to a spot where it's like, well, it's okay because there's practice and that was our time.
Well, and also,
think
don't
about
bring
what
up
you're
the Posey.
saying.
Don't bring up the Posey thing.
Right, that's
because,
totally different.
Because Scott Cousins, first of all, I know Scott Cousins. He's a good guy, and he had to make that decision in a nanosecond, and he chose an aggressive path, but that was the wild, wild west. That was baseball at that point in history. They've changed because I said I know Scott Cousins.
Yeah, gee, I mean, you guys have dinner together?
I know
or
Scott Cousins. Actually, my old radio producer he was at his wedding. So we were all, Cousins knows him from USF. He played at USF for Nino Giarratano.
Yeah.
So but Cousins is not a bad guy, but Sabian raked him through the coals. And I mean, I thought what Sabe said was awful.
He's emotional.
And he was emotional.
That's an emotional.
It was an emotional reaction. We all love Posey, but that was different. That would, to me, if you want to throw a baseball thing, that's kind of a good comparison. To me, it was Roger Clemens picking up the sharp end of a baseball bat and hurling it in his PED rage at Piazza in the World Series in 2000.
Who was also in a PED rage, but go ahead.
Right. So you got a PED situation, but that was a weapon, right? I mean, that was the barrel of a bat with a sharp end, and he literally threw it right in the direction of Piazza. That wasn't a baseball play. That was I'm on roids and I'm losing my S right here in national TV. But to me, there's a framework. If it's within the framework of the game, violence is okay. If it's outside the framework and you involve a weapon, obviously that's a big difference.
Even in the game, though, there's no swinging helmets. We're like anywhere. Where is this okay?
What about the thing we saw in the Giant dugout with the guy? Who was it that kicked the bat?
Oh, Rodon. Yeah, but that again. So that's a fit of rage against an object. Not a person.
You hurt your player.
Yeah.
What if that killed Flores? Killed Tyrell?
Estrada. Yeah.
What if that? I mean, then all of a sudden now you're talking about maybe a lawsuit, right? I would imagine.
I mean, gosh, that would be the next iron in the fire for the Giants season, right? If teammates end up suing each other.
Not good.
Speaking of which, so Logan Webb the other day after a start says, I feel like we've been complacent. Then he tries to walk back complacent a little bit and says, and I really like Logan, by the way. So I feel like it was awesome that he was honest, and he was saying to the reporters, like, it's hard in 2022 to rely on context, but he did it here because people could have easily just been Logan Webb says complacent, but he was saying, look, I'm trying to find the right word here, and
he said, I'm not saying this right.
Yeah,
in the middle.
Maybe that's not the right word, but he sort of ended on, I feel like we just haven't played with enough fire. And so that ended up with Gabe Kapler before yesterday's game in the dugout yesterday. And here's Gabe's response to that.
My feeling on that is great. Logan is here to express himself and to share frustration and to share disappointment. He's a leader on our team right now, even if he hasn't fully embraced that yet, in part because I think he's been concerned about like maybe stepping on toes from time to time, maybe not feeling quite ready to take on that responsibility, but he is every bit a leader and a huge important piece of our future with a voice that needs to be heard right now and going forward.
An interesting answer in that he's saying, look, I that's fine. Logan's being a leader, but also seems to suggest we need some more out of you. Like maybe you need to be the fire. Like encouraging him to be like, dude, you're our guy. You're certainly the only one we know is going to be here who's also good.
Right.
That's it. That's the list. How many Giants do you know are going to be here and are good? Logan.
I want to hear Cap be more accountable. I really do. I mean, the quote that I saw was, we're demonstrating the fight that we need. Do we have the
yeah, we have. I think this is what you're looking for right here.
I think the life is actually always there. Sometimes it turns into results. I would say the evidence of that is, you have Evan Longoria, who is certainly not at his best physically. He's got a hamstring issue that he's dealing with, but he comes in and gets a big pinch hit. And then you have Austin Slater, who has a dislocated finger. He's willing to go out there and run the bases and play defense for us. If his spot comes up, we end up hitting Andrew Knapp and moving Lamont Wade Jr. to the outfield and having Andrew Knapp play at first base. Everybody's given everything that they have. And it's happening pregame. It's happening early in games. It's happening at the end of games. It's not enough. It's not. We're demonstrating the fight that we need. We're demonstrating the effort that we need. We're demonstrating the pregame routine that we need. And it's just not enough right now. We're not winning baseball games, and that's all that matters.
That's what you're looking for.
That to me sounds like Kapler's not being accountable. That's to me sounds like he's publicly saying, because the manager's job is to motivate the team. The manager's job is to get the most out of the players. And I'd love to hear Cap, who's very eloquent, I would say, compared to most big league managers. When does he ever just say, hey, you know what? Point the finger right here. Blame me. Take one for the team. Don't blame the players. Logan Webb said that, and I think there could be more fire from the players. Oh, you know what? We're doing everything pregame we need to do. We've got enough fight. We've got enough effort. In other words, I'm motivating the guys. I just don't have enough. It's like he's indirectly, I know him and Farhan are the regime and they're tied together, but in some ways he's pointing the finger at Farhan and pointing the finger at the players. I think if you're a real leader of men, you take that upon yourself and you say, you know what? I could blame, a lot of things, injuries and this, but I'm not going to. I've got to be better. I've got to get my guys going. We're dead as a doornail. We're 4-20 in the last 24 in the division since the All-Star break. We're sinking like a stone in the last 3 weeks. I've got to connect. I blame myself. I take that on yourself. That's what a true leader does. They don't kind of Logan's right. The players could be more fired up. And you know what? We're doing everything over here right, but we just still not winning games, as if to say the guy who was the architect of this team, Farhan Zaidi, left me short. And he didn't say those words exactly, but that's the implication. And so to me, I don't think that's a leader. I think Gabe has lost the clubhouse to some degree based on the effort that I'm seeing. And I'm watching this thing sadly nightly. And I'm not seeing the kind of effort and kind of energy and the kind of drive that I saw a year ago. And I put some of that on Gabe. I think he's got to wear that.
Yeah. So it's interesting. He's in a very, very difficult spot, obviously, because when we say, hey, a leader puts it on him. Well, not always. A leader also holds the people beneath him or her accountable.
But that's part of it too. Partially on it. You got to it's got to be we. It can't be they.
Well, it's his favorite word. We. So yeah, like that he uses.
Have you ever heard him at any point this year say, you know what? It ain't the talent, it ain't the players, it ain't Farhan, it's me, man. I got to be better. Yeah, but we got to be better.
But would we react? Would we like that? If he came out and he's like, "Look, I have done a terrible job."
He doesn't say that, but he can say, "You know what? I'm going to be accountable here. I'm part of this, and I'd like to. Do we have the cast that we want right now? No, but you know what? We got to be better. We got to be tighter. Our game's got to be better. And that's on me. And I'm going to wear that. I'm going to own that.
Yeah, that's that. I don't think we've heard that. I will. And I'll also give you this, what you're reminding me of. When I worked in San Diego, the Chargers head coach at the time was a guy by the name of Mike McCoy. Remember him?
Yeah.
Mike McCoy. Yeah. So we would watch his post-game press conference and almost every week. And it literally, I think, ended up getting him fired. Because every week it wasn't going well. The Chargers would lose. And his conversation would be very passive aggressive to where when the questions were like, why did this happen? Be like, well, we set everything up and we felt really good about the play call and we felt everything good about what we did during the week. And in other words, I put these guys in position to do it. And they didn't do it. And even though you're not saying it, it feels like you're selling your team down the river in front of a microphone. And it doesn't play in a locker room. You can't do it.
There's nowhere to go from there.
They get very mad, very, very quick, and it becomes a problem. So to your point, even if you're not being all that genuine with it, yeah, it helps sometimes to just be like, look, I'm the leader, and this isn't working. And when it doesn't work, the leader's got to throw a different pitch. I think that's everyone's question about Gabe Kapler. Do you have a second pitch? We know what your first pitch is, and when it's working, that's great. What happens when it's not? What's the adjustment? Is it just we're sticking with the plan because you stuck with it all year, and now you're ending up with Josh Hader on the mound and a bunch of left-handers hitting 202 coming to the plate? It's odd. Like even your plan is not actually being played out the way it was planned.
The answer is, of course, they're just not deep enough. And that was the difference between last year and this year. Last year, they were exceptionally deep. Every time they always had an advantageous matchup in their favor because they had a full complement of guys. Now you've taken away their guys. They've had some injuries. The farm system has not produced. Farhan has not made any real additions of significance. And he's sitting there. I kind of agree with Kapler I think, he's right. Farhan has left him short. But that's not what a leader does. A leader comes in and says, you know what? I don't care who's out there. They got to be better, and I'm in charge. I'm the guy here. I'll say the other thing. I thought Gabe didn't show any fire this year, except for that 3 or 4 days in a row where he got ejected
out against the Dodgers.
Yeah, I thought he showed some fire there, and I thought it was false. I think the players read it as false.
Yeah, and you don't want to sell Farhan out because that's not going to go well for you in this organization. No. I don't think. All right, more on this coming up next. We got time for your phone calls in the 11 o'clock hour. Zach Gelb, CBS Sports Radio, with his experience with Aaron Donald, is moments away as well. Larry Krueger in for Dibs, Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game.
95.7 The Game is live and local on Labor Day. We kick off our coverage with the Red and Gold Roundtable from 6 to 10.
Just reaching the playoffs by hook, by crook, by any way possible. That's what you got to do.
Followed by the hosts of the kickoff show, Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal. We're live this Labor Day on 95.7 The Game.
Looking for a fulfilling career with growth opportunities? Enjoy paid training, medical benefits, and earn close to $40 per hour within 3 years. Apply today to become a VTA bus operator and excel with providing VTA customers a great experience. Start your journey. Visit VTA.org/Point A and apply today.
Everyone knows how beneficial therapy can be, but traditional therapy can be overwhelming, confusing, and inconvenient. When scheduling in-person therapy, it can be difficult to find the right therapist near you, and it can take weeks to get on their calendar. We knew there had to be a better way, and that's where BetterHelp began. I'm Danny, co-founder of BetterHelp Online Therapy. When Alana and I started BetterHelp in 2013, our mission was simple: find a way to make professional therapy accessible, affordable, and convenient for everyone. BetterHelp works around your schedule and lifestyle. You can connect to a therapist by phone, video call, or even text message. You don't even have to turn on your camera if you don't feel comfortable. And if your therapist isn't the right fit, you can switch anytime with the click of a button, because BetterHelp is designed with you in mind. See why over 2 million members have trusted BetterHelp for online therapy. Go to betterhelp.com/youfirst and get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/youfirst for 10% off your first month.
Sides and totals are obviously awesome, but how can you not love betting on props?
Nick Costos, co-host of You Better You Bet, 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern on the BetQL network.
I love it because it's like playing fantasy sports, except you're betting on the game. Which player is going to have a lot of success in the game? I think prop bets are absolutely tremendous and a different way of thinking about handicapping and betting on a sporting event.
All the insight you need to bet smarter is at BetQL.com. And listen to You Better You Bet with Nick Costos and Ken Barkley, streaming weekdays from 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern on Odyssey.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
We all know someone who's all work and no chill. Trust me, that used to be me. But then I found Galaxy Z Fold 4, which allows me to do more things at once. Much better. Now I can take video calls from my phone and use it to take notes at the same time.
Wait, are you at the spa?
Or check my shopping list while ordering more scented candles and face masks on the foldable, expansive screen. Don't take your to-do list one line at a time. Multitask so you can relax.
Get the new Galaxy Z Fold 4 at Samsung.com today.
O'Reilly!
O'Reilly Auto Parts is here to keep your car on the road with our free loaner tool program. Your local store has more than 80 specialty tools available to rent for your next repair. Refundable deposit required. Ask our professional parts people about the Loaner Tool program today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-200-1966. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now, back to Willard and Dibbs on 95.7 The Game. Coming this Labor Day.
That was my bad. I hit some button in here that I don't even know was in here. That was just like I got a body part that just flew somewhere that it wasn't supposed to go, and it hit something. What is that? Let's get that button out. Why is that even in here? They're like, why is that an option? You know
I touch as few buttons as possible.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. I just had a spasm. Anyway, I wonder if it feels somewhat like a social media spasm for our next guest, Zach Gelb, whose name has been thrown all over the place just in the last 24 hours. CBS Sports Radio. He is the one who was interviewing Aaron Donald and had the PR rep jump in. Hey, Zach, I kind of wanted to bring you in that way. Hey, Zach. Hi. How are you?
Guys, I'm just here to talk about Dr. Teals today.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think I'll answer it.
That's all we're going to ask about is Dr. Teals.
Yeah, who are you working with today, Zach? Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, so first of all, my man, great job. Like, exactly. I think all of us in the industry we're feeling that from all kinds of different angles, where a PR rep is like, we're here to use your platform to promote our stuff, but we're not here for the other side of the give and take, which is to allow you to ask the questions that people really want asked. So great job, and take us through what was going on in your mind as it all unfolded.
Yeah, so about 10 days ago, I get a pitch. Would you like either Aaron Donald or Derrick Henry? So I said, let's go with Aaron Donald, and then obviously we know what happened at the joint practices. So I was kind of thinking there was eventually going to be an email that would come out and say, hey, you're not allowed to ask what happened at the joint practice. That never came my way. No one ever told me I couldn't, ask something in the interview. So the interview was going down. First 6 minutes, we talk about his future, winning the Super Bowl, all that stuff, and I knew I had to ask about it. So I'll say this. I was surprised. I knew the PR people were on the call. They were on the Zoom right in front of me. I could see it. But I was surprised that they stepped into the interview. But it is what it is. Made for a good conversation. And, Aaron didn't want to clearly address what was, what transpired last week.
No, he didn't. Although I will say this. He was way more willing to go down the road than she was. She didn't want any part of it. He seemed somewhat willing to discuss it. It wasn't like he stonewalled you as much as she did. I was wondering, after the interview ended, did the PR person jump back on the line with you and scold you for your approach, or did it end right there?
No, that was it. Once we finished the interview, it was thanks, have a good day, normal stuff, and there was no big issue. Haven't heard anything from their PR side since. To be honest with you guys, I'm a little bit surprised, honestly.
Just for people,
they should be happy. The product's getting more promotion than it would have had in any other campaign.
Oh, exactly.
Usually a guest comes on, they promote a product, and it's just what the guest said about some controversial take in the NFL. Here, the product's getting blasted everywhere across the country.
I've never heard one of these interviews and ever remembered the product ever before, but I do in this one.
Yeah.
Dr. Teals. Yeah. And so if anyone's joining us right now, did not hear at least the beginning of the exchange between you and Aaron Donald and then the PR rep, here it is.
Practices, because we all saw the video of you swinging helmets and people were wondering what was going on there.
It was just a practice. Obviously people got phones out and things like that, but I'm not going to sit and talk about negative stuff that happened at a practice. My main focus is Buffalo. So,
was there any internal punishment?
We talked. So,
were you thinking maybe you were going to get suspended or anything?
Hey, Zach.
Wasn't worried about it. So,
yeah, we're just going to focus just here because Aaron's here today to talk about Dr. Teals. So you do have 2 minutes left if you want to pivot to your last question, please.
Oh, okay. Just one more thing, Aaron, on this, and I'll get to Dr. Teals. What sparked it? Just wondering, because I think people are curious about it.
Well, being a guy that's 31 years old, my main focus is football. Obviously, the physical part you do, but it's more about the recovery thing that I need to do and being a partner with Dr. Teals and be able to use Dr. Teals twice.
So that's when Aaron then adeptly goes, well, I'm just going to take this question and turn it into a Dr. Teals commercial.
Right.
And so that's fine. But again, I was really glad you stuck with it. There was one thing, though, I wondered, was it going through your mind at all to try to almost get an explanation of how he, or even the Rams, like when he says we talked, is there an explanation as to how anyone can justify this behavior, whether it was practice or anywhere else for that matter?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing here, and the NFL said this through Tom Pelissero from the jump, is they don't oversee the joint practices and they leave any punitive actions up to the teams. Now, you could agree or disagree if that makes sense. I think the NFL should be able to swoop in if they wanted to, because you have a player hitting another player with two helmets. And I know there hasn't been great video, and that could be a big difference with the Myles Garrett situation. We clearly saw what happened with Myles Garrett. Here, we could assume what happened because we see the two helmets swinging and you hear the thump, but we still don't know who the player is. So once the PR rep stepped in, I knew I only had a question left on it, and I was just still lost as to what specifically happened. So that's why in my just natural line of thinking and talking, I just said, well, I still want to know what happened. Like, can you share what happened? And clearly he wanted to just talk about Dr. Teals.
No, it was beautiful. He handled it perfectly. I thought it was, because it was like, what if he had taken out a shotgun and killed somebody? The NFL's not going to jump
Larry.
in. Yeah, practice. No, the NFL can't get involved.
Yeah, I said this to my producer, and I think you guys would appreciate it. I go, so my producer was defending the act of it being in practice and why there shouldn't be a suspension. So I said to my producer, if I punched you in the face before a pre-show meeting, I guess that's fine. But once we get on the air, if I punch you in the face, that's the only way I could get suspended. That's what I don't get when they just say, hey, it's practice. The guy shouldn't be suspended.
Right. Hey, since we got you here, the big story here, of course, people are, we've been breaking it down literally like almost 48 hours straight on the Garoppolo is re-signed. He's now the backup. What does that mean for the Niners, for Jimmy, for future trades, and maybe most importantly for Trey in his year this year? Give me your read on the quarterback machinations here in San Francisco.
Yeah, if you would have told me 3 months ago Jimmy Garoppolo would still be on this team week one, I would have said you're absolutely crazy. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, the way I would approach it, though, the only way I would take Trey Lance off the field this year is if he gets hurt. If he has poor play, I still keep on riding him out and playing him because I think it's important to see him over the stretch of 17 games. I once interviewed Trey Lance a year before he even got drafted. I was blown away just really by his professionalism. And this was before he got catapulted into such a national spotlight. And we'll see if the upside is going to eventually come full circle for them. And if they're going to get a guy that could go win them a Super Bowl, because whatever the 49ers say, they clearly don't think Jimmy G can win them a Super Bowl. That's why they aggressively made this move. I still think, even though the 49ers have a really good team, just with the unknown at the quarterback position, I would think they're probably still a year away from getting a full sense if this group will win a Super Bowl with Trey or not.
Zach Gelb, CBS Sports Radio with us. Yeah, I guess my question there too is, so you said keep him in if there's poor play. If you're Shanahan and the team is like just last year, they were experiencing this. They were 3-5 in their first 8 games. They weren't loving the way that the offense was moving. If there is poor play and your veterans, your Trent Williams, your Kyle Juszczyk, your George Kittle, you come to the coach and you say, Coach, we think we can win this thing, but you got to put the better quarterback into the game. How do you handle that?
That's the most difficult part of this situation. And I was talking to Vernon Davis the other day on my show, and I kind of asked him that. And he said players are going to be Team Trey, they're going to be Team Jimmy, but ultimately they have to put all that stuff aside with whoever the coach decides to put on the field. But that could be the toughest part of the situation. And the other thing that I just questioned, and I listened to what Mike Lombardi said on the Pat McAfee show, I just wonder how all in Shanahan is on Trey Lance, because it's so bizarre to me when that trade, I remember the day it was made, Chris Sims was so close to Kyle Shanahan. He was the first one that said they made this move to go out there and get Mac Jones. So I wonder how long it took and how much convincing actually had to be made by everyone in the organization to go with Trey Lance over Mac Jones. And if you don't have a coach that's all in on your young quarterback and you have a GM who clearly was all in because they gave up all the draft capital, then you could have maybe Shanahan and then Lynch butting heads a little bit.
Zach, interesting stuff, man. And again, thanks for hopping on short notice. Great job with Aaron. You go get him. You go get those PR people of America.
You got it, guys. Appreciate the time as always.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, there you go. Zach Gelb, CBS Sports Radio versus Aaron Donald. I'm going to give the point to Zach on that one.
He was good, man. He helped. He maintained his poise, his focus. He didn't get distracted. And he easily, how many people would go, hey, I got one more, and go back to a football question?
That's why I was impressed, because I've not been in that situation where a PR rep comes flying in, but like when you get that little talking to ahead of time, it's tough. It's tough just to be like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to ask the questions that I want to ask, even though I'm being told not to. But he is empowered by the fact that they never said anything. Like, that was interesting. He's like, they never said anything before the interview.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they said it during the interview. Well, too late.
Yeah.
Too late. We're doing it now. Speaking of doing it now, guess what's happening right now?
Jimmy's on the field.
Jimmy's on the field.
First time.
Jimmy's got a uniform
Not
on.
the side field. The main field. It's like Trixie on the main stage. Jimmy's on the main field.
They did not give him a red jersey though. They're just going to let people go, just wail away on it. Defenders can just go crush him. So it's a purple jersey, and you're supposed to hit it even if he's not on the field.
Hit him hard.
Hit him. So Jimmy's on the field at practice in Santa Clara right now.
I do think that Zach's idea there, where Kyle stays with Trey unless there's an injury, I think that's smart. I mean, wouldn't you agree that how Kyle handles this is going to go a great distance to how well it works?
Well, yes, but it's also how does Trey handle it? I mean, there's a limit on how far that goes. So again, it's if there's this gray area, right? Say the 49ers are, I don't know, give me a 6-game start. They're 4-2.
Okay.
Right? They're 4-2, but like the offensive numbers are, the defense is just balling out and you're winning games 20-13. So if that's the case, then you got to, and that may be the likely scenario actually. And if that's the case, then you got to stick with it. Trey has to at least do that though. Like if Trey is out there losing games, you know what I mean? Like if it's a pick 6 here and a fumble there and a pick 6 over here and the Niners
causing them to lose.
What do you do? How can you be a legitimate coach and look at that roster and be like, riding it out. Hope all your legs are still intact when we get to next year. How can you do that?
Yeah. I just think you cannot get into a early season juggle. That's what you can't do.
Correct. I agree.
No voluntary juggle. You get into it. You stay with one guy at least for the first month, unless there's an injury, obviously. But you don't go into the first half, second half, yanking guys, ineffective, pull them out, try this, try that. Less moves, I think, early on would probably be the best way to handle it.
I agree.
It's going to be very interesting,
I agree. Yeah. All right. 888-957-9570. Comcast Business text line. You can keep all your thoughts coming on that. I wanted to get this out, though, real quick, too, with regard to Brandon Crawford yesterday in the Giants game getting tossed out of the game. We know Brandon Crawford. Therefore, there's one thing I know here. Brandon did not yell at an umpire. I don't know how audible Brandon even is inside a stadium where there are other people. He is the most soft-spoken, chill dude. Plus, he's Brandon Crawford. Guy's got a resume in this sport.
Multiple World Series rings and a lot of respect.
The third part of this, and I know a lot of you probably didn't see it, so I'll try to paint the picture. But the third part of this is prior to him being ejected out on the field, he had been rung up on a strike 3, a check swing where the third base umpire rung him up. Look at the replay.
It was one of those 70-30s, and he was on the 30, and he got a bad call.
I don't even think it was that. Like, it was not a swing. It just wasn't.
It wasn't as bad as Wilmer Flores.
No,
it was.
It kind of. If this had been to end a playoff series, oh yeah, it would have been the whole 3 hours today. It was a bad call. But put that aside, because I don't freak out on, like, bad calls happen, right? You got to do it quick. He's trying. Great job, third base umpire. I know you're trying. You missed one. No big deal. But if you're Brandon and you've got that resume, you are absolutely allowed to speak to said umpire about this. Not demonstrably, you don't go crazy, don't kick dirt on him. But what happened is the next half inning, Brandon goes out to shortstop and he's warming up, and the third base umpire's on a little left field stroll. And you
about 25 feet away.
Yeah, you see Brandon's head turn, and there's no yelling, there's no arms up. Whatever he says, he says. And the third base umpire, you're gone.
Right.
And Brandon spoke, and I'm so glad he did. He said after the game in the clubhouse, I was told, quote, we're not talking about this. Oh, listen right here, Mr. Third Base Umpire. Are you my mom? We're not talking about this. This is my problem with umpires. It's different than NFL refs and NBA refs. NBA refs tee up Draymond for talking too much or whatever. There's something about the culture of umpiring where they believe they are the player's parents. You're not even allowed to have a discussion. Even if the discussion is mature, even if the discussion is, I would just like to talk to you about what you saw. The umpire we've allowed to be this person who says, oh, this is actually something that we are not even allowed to discuss. And if you do, you're out of here. They do it with balls and strikes all the time.
It's almost more specific to balls and strikes.
Totally. And so somehow there is this holier than thou. Not only am I potentially wrong, I'm not even allowed to be wrong. You are not allowed to even question the throne.
Anything that you do that in any way is aggressive, I will view as you showing me up in front of whatever number of people, 25,000.
510 just texted in something that's true. Dibs' ears are burning right now. Yes, I was thrilled to have this conversation on a day when Dibs was not here.
Dibs is a ref. You mean Dibs does a lot of officiating?
Heck, the ref could be whacking people with helmets and Dibs would be like, they had a reason. And so I want to be very careful to state this is umpires. This is not NBA refs. This is not NFL refs. We got to stop this. You're not even allowed to have a conversation. Go to your room. We're not talking about this. You're not dad. You're not mom. And by the way, you're about to be out of a job.
And nobody's paying a nickel to see you.
Thank you.
That's the bigger issue. And the entertainment is expensive as hell. So do not be run. People got in their car and drove 75 miles and crossed a bridge and paid toll and paid $35 to park and are eating a $70 crab sandwich to see the players, not you. You can't stalk guys back to the dugout. You can't introduce your zero tolerance policies, arbitrarily. Yeah, the umpire thinks he's got it going on.
I mean,
the umpire's thinking, I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, you use the word stalk, and I imagine that are you referring to the Madison Bumgarner thing that happened earlier this year?
Well, I've just seen home plate umpires. Usually it happens at home plate. That's what happened in the outfield. But, I've seen guys have their say, and they're walking back to the dugout. In the NBA, if Draymond Green has his say and he's walking away, for the most part, he's not going to
walk away.
He's going to the walking away is allowing him to say what he wants to say as he's walking away. And NBA officials understand their place and say, you know what? There's a lot of people paid $10,000 to sit courtside to see Draymond, not me. So I'm going to eat that. I'm going to be the bigger man. And because he's walking away, that's fine. Baseball, it's like, you're showing me up.
Yep.
You said something. Oh, you don't get the final word. I get the final word. I'm going to take off my mask and follow you back to the dugout or follow you back to your position, and I'm going to run you. I mean, they're on a major power trip.
Totally. And by the way, you use that phrase like, I'm gonna run at you. Like, how many times have you seen this? Showing me up. This is the big thing with the umpire. Like, if you're home plate, you watch Buster Posey do this for years. He was great at it because he's a catcher. So he knows damn well what the strike zone is because his pitcher was just out on the mound. So then when he's at the plate, if he sees a ball that's called a strike that his pitcher's not getting, he will talk to the umpire. But he did it in the most professional, polite way ever. Like, yeah, you move your foot down there. You're moving dirt around. You put your head straight down, but you're talking to the umpire. Hey, Blue, you can't. That's inside. It's inside by foot. You're not giving it to my pitcher. And you're telling the umpire that, but you're doing it with your head down, which the umpire respects. Because in that way, the fans don't even know that it's happening.
Right.
But how many times have you seen this? A dugout is chirping at the umpire about balls and strikes. A manager, a coach, whatever, even a player. They're chirping about balls and strikes, and the umpire will stop play, rip the mask off, take 3 steps toward the dugout, and put up a warning. You weren't being showed up. We have no idea that that's happening.
Right.
We're in the stands.
They will not absorb that
we cannot hear what's coming from the dugout whatsoever. So you are not being shown up. Yet you just made a thing about it because you don't want to be questioned. Well, I guess what? There's no jobs like that anymore. We don't get to not be questioned. It's 2022, and you got to get the dang heck off the high horse, or we're getting robo umpires in there as quickly as possible.
I think the key word is you. You can drop the F, but you can't drop the FU.
Well,
you know what I mean? When you go into your experience,
but Brandon Crawford
expressing frustration is fine, but expressing it directly, I think it's the you that gets these guys.
Well, I'm not a big fan of the phrase either, but like, can we all agree that it's highly unlikely that Brandon Crawford said that to the umpire yesterday?
I bet you he can be pretty salty though.
Oh no, Brandon's a competitor.
Yeah.
He's a competitor.
He said something, but guess what? Nobody knew, and he's back in his position, and it's minutes from when it actually happened. So people are looking at the scoreboard, and they're buying beers, and they're doing things. They're not focused on that. To me, you should have more leeway when you go back to your position, because almost like it's like the player's saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to tuck it away. I'm not going to embarrass you. I'm not going to show you up, but I am going to have another word about this to you when I go out to my position. Give them that luxury.
A stat that I don't think I believe, even though I've read it multiple times. Since 1990, every year, at least 4 teams that did not make the playoffs the year before have made the playoffs in the NFL. That's bananas. So let's do it. Let's come up with the 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year that will make the playoffs this year.
You want me to go first? Our next segment.
I want you to wait right there.
Oh, look at that.
That's coming up next.
Oh, look at you. You've done this before.
It was, but then you told everybody. But anyway, yeah, that's next on 95.7 The Game.
Coming this Labor Day.
I'm dead serious.
Take a seat at the Red and Gold Round Table.
Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Hell yeah!
Monty Hill, Kyle Madsen, and Damon Bruce bring you 4 straight hours of 49ers talk.
Don't do that to Jerry. Come on.
The Red and Gold Round Table, Monday morning from 6 to 10 on 95.7 The Game.
Circle K Fuel Day.
What's Circle K Fuel Day?
A celebration. 40 cents off per gallon. Look for the Circle K on the fuel pumps. Circle K Fuel Day.
That's right. September 1st from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., Circle K Fuel is dropping the price by 40 cents per gallon to celebrate the long weekend. We're even helping out on snacks with special deals on in-store items all month long. Up to 40 cents off per gallon in certain states in accordance with applicable law. 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. only. Price on pump reflects discounted price during that time.
Live on DAZN pay-per-view, September 17th, Part 3. Canelo versus Triple G to take the trilogy. Bad blood, a score to settle, controversy, brutality, pure hostility. For victory, for history, for the trilogy. Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin. September 17th, live on DAZN pay-per-view. Visit DAZN.com.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Attention veterans. If you were stationed at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you and your family may be victims of toxic water poisoning. Cancers, birth defects, deadly illnesses have all been linked to the contaminated water. Congress is now holding the government accountable. You could be awarded financial compensation for your suffering, but you must act now. Get your free case review. Call True Law at 877-560-8555, 877-560-8555, or visit sickvets.com. That's sickvets.com.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
Are you looking for a rewarding new career? Join the United States Postal Service and apply for roles nationwide. Serve your community with pride and receive benefits including competitive pay and opportunities for advancement. Whether you are looking for full-time, part-time, or seasonal positions, we have options that may be perfect for you. The United States Postal Service is an equal opportunity employer. Apply now at USPS.com/careers.
At Left Coast Buyers, we buy properties all over California. If you own a house or an apartment building and want to sell it fast at a great price, call us at 925-434-5000. We can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. We buy properties in any condition, any price range. Do you own a property that is run down and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Are you out of time, money, and energy? Are you looking for an easy way to get top dollar for your property and sell on your terms and timeline? Well, call Left Coast Buyers now at 925-434-5000. We buy divorce houses, inherited houses. We even buy vacant houses and abandoned houses. Do you have a tenant who hasn't paid? Are you behind on property taxes, mortgage payments, or even facing a foreclosure? Even if you're just nervous about capital gains or an upcoming recession, we've seen it all. So if you or someone you know owns a property and needs to sell, call Left Coast Buyers at 925-434-5000. That's 925-434-5000.
This is a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup sound experiment.
We're looking to find the perfect way to hear Reese's so you'll buy more of them. Here we go. Reese's, 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 Reese's. Hey, get out of here, you little stinker. Reese's.
Reese's. Reese's.
Peanut butter cups. That breathy one sounded very creepy, am I right?
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's his fourth. But you know what they say, fourth time's the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Now, back to Willard and Dibbs on 95.7 The Game.
Larry, do you like surprises? I like surprises. I'm a big surprise guy.
I do love surprises.
You do?
I live for surprises.
Okay, because we just got one, and I'll start by letting everybody know that Labor Day is not a day off around here. We are going to offer you all kinds of phenomenal content throughout the day on Labor Day from 6 to 8. It's the Red and Gold Roundtable with Bonte and Damon and Kyle Madsen. 8 to 10, Red and Gold Roundtable. And then 10 to 1, some guy named Krueger is going to hang out with Lowe. And then
it's going to hurt the salary cap.
Whitey and Allen, 1 to 4, 4 to 6. You'll hear the Red and Gold Roundtable again with Bonte, Kyle Madsen, and Damon Bruce.
I mean, I wouldn't go overselling this. We just taped it. It wasn't that good.
It wasn't?
No, I thought it was a really good breakdown. We had a lot of fun. We chopped it up, I think, in every conceivable way. I don't know if you guys heard. Jimmy Garoppolo's still on this team.
Yeah, practicing right now. Getting ready for his week 2 start. Yeah.
Oh, look, they already week 2 start. Nice way to set that
I'm just trying to mess everybody up.
No, look, this is something we kept on coming back to. How often do you get to know for sure that your football team leads the league in interesting before a single down is played?
Great point. I know. It's a great point.
I've never seen more national discussion of any 49ers team. This is going back to peak Harbaugh years. This is going back to, the promise of Colin Kaepernick. I have never seen the nation's media as fascinated by this team as it is right now.
Like mid-90s.
Wouldn't you guys say, I'd venture to say that they've sort of had that mantle for a year and a half, like leading up to last year's draft when they made the trade. They definitely were the number one national story team leading into that. Like, what are they going to do at 3 was the big story. And then from that point, when you look at the way their season, like it wasn't every week like this, but the way their season played out, and now the offseason of Jimmy Garoppolo and the surgery and then not being traded and this, I mean, it feels like they've kind of been that team for 18 months.
And don't forget that they've got this iconic thing to them. And look at the way the Niner fan travels. I mean, the Niner fans literally invade almost every road game they've played in the last 6 or 7. At some point in the broadcast, the announcers go, "Wow, there's a lot of Niner fans in here."
Totally. It's like Ohio State coming to town. You're like, God, there are a lot of Buckeyes in this stadium.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good to see you, bud.
Good to see you guys.
Damon Bruce hanging out.
So I'm literally just sitting around. I'm taping. I got 3.5 hours before the show starts. I thought,
what are you going to do?
I'm going to crash. Well, I thought I'd start by crashing your party.
I'm thankful.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have gone to get something to eat, but
that's coming up next.
Okay, good.
It's coming up next.
You're like not quite hungry yet. It's only 11:30.
Strategizing the entire morning. I got plenty of time to kill.
Hit a bar and see how tanked you can get before the show.
There you
I'd
go.
love to hear just super tanked.
Coming to you live from the Old Ship Saloon.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
How you doing, Ray?
I do. Yeah, exactly.
So I walk in there, Ray's already there. We didn't even strategize this. He's just drinking before the show started.
Where is Ray right now, do you think? Where is Ray? That sounds
I don't know where
like
he
a plausible
is, except for mentally, and he's angry.
He's carrying a notebook with him.
So you got to jump in on what we were going to do, because this is a stat that Cal found yesterday, or someone was tweeting about it.
Stat me.
Yeah.
I love a good stat.
So this is, and when you read it, it's one of these that I go, wait a minute, wait, really? So are you sure? For real? And yeah, 32 consecutive years.
Wow, that's the most amazing part about it.
32 straight years in the NFL. At least 4 teams have gone to the playoffs that did not go to the playoffs the year before. So Look at the list right now of NFL teams, and I'll throw out there.
I got my 4 for
just
sure.
for everybody who's listening, for their memory base of who did go to the playoffs last year. The NFC was the Rams, Cardinals, Niners, the Bucks, the Packers, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. So they're out. They're off the list.
Right.
AFC, Raiders, Chiefs, Titans, Bengals, Steelers, Bills, Patriots. They're off the list. We have to come up with at least 4 teams not on that list that are going to the postseason this year.
I've got it. I've got 4 for sure.
Go ahead.
You want me to give you all 4 or just one?
Sure. Give me your list.
All right, here's my list. Minnesota, like Minnesota this year. Denver with Russell. Baltimore, and Baker and Carolina.
Wow.
I like all 4 of those teams. I think Carolina looks really good to me. I watched them twice in the preseason. I don't know how, but I stumbled on them. Baker has found himself. He's surrounded by weapons, man. He's got weapons. He's got runners. He's got receivers. That's a nice little team.
I think your most interesting pick is the Broncos, a team that I actually believe in this moment is the 4th best team in their own division. And you got them going to the playoffs.
I know. I do believe in Russell. Denver's got great
crazy.
weapons, too. Denver's got great offensive weapons.
What do you got, Damon?
So I think this is the year the streak is broken.
Wow.
I think this is the year the streak is broken.
That's a hefty statement.
I like Denver. I like the Los Angeles Chargers to maybe threaten to come
on my list.
Yeah,
yes.
that was the one I was thinking, Chargers.
I can't, for the life of me, find the NFC crasher because I don't think it's going to be Arizona. I don't think it's going to be Carolina.
Well, Arizona was in last year.
And that's right. They're in last year. So they have already disqualified themselves from the conversation. I don't think it's going to be New Orleans.
I have New Orleans as maybe a team.
As a maybe? Let me tell you who I got.
I
I don't know who is going in. So I think this would be the year maybe where only 2 or 3 new teams appear and you won't get all 4. Fade the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Doesn't it feel like this is being set up to be the first year where Tom Brady actually looks as old as he is?
Yeah.
And it might not even be his fault, but the protection that I can already feel Tom Brady staring holes through the back of his offensive lineman's head by week 5.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you. And it's
Gage
not just
is hurt. The O-line's hurt.
And Godwin's going to take a while before he's back. Evans is usually hurt. So
you telling me Julio Jones is the answer? He hasn't been for years.
He's old.
Julio's
Fournette's put on a bunch of bad weight.
Yeah. I mean, who's the young running back they got?
Rashad White.
White could be interesting. But Tom, when is Tom? Tom's the ageless wonder. And he looked at a room full of people last week and goes, look, I'm 45. And all of a sudden I was like, wait, you're telling us you're old? If you're because I've stopped believing that you're ever going to get old. But suddenly you done something to your face.
He looks different.
And you left
Do you think
training
he got
camp.
touched up? Do you think he got
I don't care. I mean, his teeth looked weird, but whatever. Like he
good looking man.
He looked like his point was, even when he looked, I'm 45 years old, there's a lot of blank going on. He looked worn out by something, and the season hadn't even started yet.
Is it blank going on in his life or blank going on in his offensive line? Like, where is this anxiety coming from?
I don't know.
There's a Page 6 story that just broke out when you guys were doing your last segment that, Giselle and Tom, a little trouble in paradise. So maybe that's what he stepped away to address.
Wow.
She's not thrilled with his NFL return.
That's interesting because that we don't talk about that at all, and rightfully so. But
it's none of our business.
That's life, though. I mean, those things actually do matter. I mean,
he did say he was stepping away to spend more time with his family, and then there was the quote 10 days later. He's like, "So we did that
exactly,
and now I'm going to go back to playing football."
It's the full
it didn't go well.
Yeah, that was
the full urban. Time for me to spend more time with my family. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
they're awful.
Let me give you one team that none of you brought up that I thought everybody was going to bring up. Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins. That's the second best team in that division. They're better than the Patriots.
Oh, do you think so?
Oh, gosh, yeah, I do. I got the Dolphins are going to the playoffs this year. I definitely think so.
Dolphins are flashy. They're flashy.
I believe in McDaniel. I believe in McDaniel.
Tua, though.
I believe in Tua under McDaniel.
I don't know what to make.
I believe in Jimmy under Kyle.
I just don't know what to make of Mac because there's an awful lot of talk. I've heard early whispers going into camp. Patriots people believe Mac is a legitimate MVP candidate. Then I've heard, man, Mac has seriously regressed in camp, and it shows, and everybody's talking about it. So I have no idea what to expect out of Mac Jones. They don't have great weapons. They do, and I don't really think their defense is all that great, despite Belichick being obviously Belichick.
They got defensive dudes with clown shirts who are calling plays.
There are.
That's the other issue. They have no old coordinator.
Yeah. There are two teams that are going against the natural order of working functional football teams. The 49ers, whether you want to agree or disagree, are doing something that is a little bit unprecedented in their quarterback room. I think that they can pull it off. I think everybody's got the right amount of professionalism and ego control to where they can really thread that needle. It's going to be an interesting needle to thread, though. And Bill Belichick is looking to put together a coaching staff without title, without responsibility, like everyone just do your job. Well, how am I supposed to know what job I even have if you're not naming offensive coordinators? I just think that Bill Belichick is maybe getting a little bit too. Every single coach
has got too much control.
Every coach is a control freak, but he might have even taken it a step too far.
Yeah.
I think that Josh McDaniels' absence is going to be.
It's got to be felt.
It's going to be huge for them this year, when before his absence was not this huge step away because he still had Brady.
The changeover on steroids. Damon is here. Steiny and Goo are coming up. You can hang out. I'm
not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I might do all of Steiny and Guru with them too. Just to make Steinmetz uncomfortable.
It's called keep Damon from the old ship. You know what I mean?
Keep Damon sober.
Keep Damon sober.
888-957-9570. Venmo him nothing.
Much more to come. 95.7 The Game.
Coming this Labor Day.
I'm dead serious.
Take a seat at the Red and Gold Round Table.
Are you guys ready? Hell yeah!
Monty Hill, Kyle Madsen, and Damon Bruce bring you 4 straight hours of 49ers talk.
Don't do that to Jerry. Come on.
The Red and Gold Round Table, Monday morning from 6 to 10 on 95.7 The Game.
Have you been in a car accident? Chilton Auto Body has 15 convenient Bay Area locations to help restore your vehicle to pre-accident condition. Chilton Auto Body is also actively hiring for all positions. For more details, head to ChiltonAutoBody.com, the Bay Area's leader in collision repair.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New gigabit extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
Are you wasting money on a timeshare you rarely use?
Cancel it with Titan Exit Group. Get a free consultation and see how they can stop the never-ending maintenance fees and mortgage payments. In fact, if your timeshare contract is not terminated, you owe nothing, so you have nothing to lose. But those monthly fees. Get legally released from your timeshare, 100% guaranteed. Call now for your free consultation at 800-200-0894. 800-200-0894.
TrackPhone wants to know, are you an influencer, a big live streamer? No? Then guess what? You don't need an endless data plan. Get just the right amount of data with TrackPhone's $40 unlimited talk and text smartphone plan. Now with 8 gigs of high-speed data and unlimited carryover on America's largest, most dependable network, now with 5G. Get the data you need at the price you want. TrackPhone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. 5G compatible device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at trackphone.com.
Breathe new life into life at home with IKEA Festival. 10 topics, one purpose, to get more out of the homes we love. What are you passionate about? Art, dance, music, food, fur babies? Get inspired, create, and share with us. With celebrations, giveaways, IKEA family offers, and live streams with expert advice. It's all happening at IKEA Festival. Join us from August 26th through September 10th online or at your local IKEA store. Learn more at IKEA-USA.com.
The Labor Day event from Dell Technologies is here. End the summer strong by starting up a new season of productivity. Your business upgrade begins with up to 48% off top-rated laptops, like Vostro, taking performance to the next level with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. It's time to push your growing business even further. What's next for you? Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, and increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Here comes the heat wave. Livermore, high of 102 today.
Weather brought to you by the Odyssey app.
Get your favorites on the free Odyssey app. Listen to local and national news stations, plus your music, sports, and podcasts for free wherever you are on the Odyssey app. Now, back to Willard and Dibbs on 95.7 The Game.
Okay, so Damon Bruce is in here. Steininger will be here shortly, and I feel like we should back up, and Damon, you should be updated on what happened earlier today. I got sports mad at Larry. I'd love to call it our first fight, but I think it was our ninth.
Was it about Farhan? I can already pick the topic. Was it about Farhan?
We've had more fights than we've had actually, any kind of real.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of
really like
it's our thing, and so it was sort of parenthetically about Farhan because Larry kind of comes in this morning with this whole let's psychoanalyze Mark and find out why he's got more patience with Farhan and Gabe than he does with Trey Lance. And I went, now these are fighting.
Oh, it's going to be great. It was going to be epic.
And I'm going to now psychoanalyze you back. I think I know what happened because Larry wasn't here yesterday because apparently he had some important thingamabob to do.
Yeah, sorry.
Whatever. And so anyway, but that was great because Hot Take Jake came in here and got to get all his stuff in here about the 49ers. And then you came in talking about Tuesday's changeover. And I've decided that you feel bullied. You got ganged up on that day because they came in here after listening to you and I do 3 hours together. They both came in and they both went, Mark is so all kinds of right, Larry, and you're all kinds of wrong. And then you held that for 2 days. And then you tried to clap back and beat me over the head with a microphone.
I still don't know what was the topic. What are you guys arguing about?
We're talking about Jimmy.
We're talking about Jimmy. I just think I want to push back on the idea that there was this huge negative to the story that I viewed as totally positive, which is Jimmy G is now your backup quarterback. You have this great backup quarterback. Your chances of winning the Super Bowl, I think, go up dramatically. And to look for kind of the negative angle of how is this going to go south, when in reality you got a $20 million quarterback to take $6 million. And now guess what? In addition to that, you got an insurance policy on Trey, and you got a tradable asset. I looked at it as an overwhelming win, and it just felt like Steiny and Goo and Mark were like hunting for the negative angle in the thing.
Love that you almost forgot my name there. But no, Damon, I listened to you the other day, so I know a portion of at least what you feel on this. But I guess the point that I've been trying to drive home is I'm not short on faith in Trey at all. But my read is that the 49ers are shorter on faith in Trey than they hoped to be on September 1st, 2022, or else you don't put Jimmy Garoppolo back on the roster.
Can I reframe this?
Sure.
What if Garoppolo's presence and knowing that putting Garoppolo into a game in which Trey Lance is struggling is going straight to DEFCON 1 in terms of just noise around your football program? What if Jimmy's presence actually makes Trey Lance's leash to make mistakes longer?
Because of the desire to avoid the circus that you just described.
Right. Because knowing that going to Jimmy in any circumstance that isn't a clear and evident injury is just basically taking gasoline on a quarterback's room and flipping a match onto it. The way that every single show would open with is this a referendum on Lance? Is this a reapproach of Garoppolo? Blah, 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 blah. I actually think they're going to be now more patient and work through the growing pains even longer than with Jimmy Garoppolo being the backup, just to avoid that. I think that Jimmy's going to be a model backup quarterback citizen too.
Well, we know that. Jimmy's always the model citizen.
He's a pro. He's
100% arm over the shoulder, going over the tablet, on the sideline. Like, I really think that Garoppolo is going to play the I'm a great teammate card so obnoxiously that we're going to get sick of it almost. And I think that I think
that's a good angle.
Yeah, and I don't know about Lance. But that's the thing. It's a complete and total unknown. And I don't think that this team messes around with titles. Like, I really think if they thought that Jimmy Garoppolo were the best guy for the team, he'd be opening week 1 in Chicago as QB1, and Lance would be back to QB2. The fact that there has not been a switch in their depth chart means that this team, I think that being committed to Lance as your starter and retaining Jimmy Garoppolo are two independent thoughts that are not related to each other.
So here's what I'd say about that. I would hope that actually would be the way that they would handle it. I think it's pretty difficult to do that because the noise about it that we talk about that could develop is out of their control, right? So if we are all watching Trey Lance struggle, if it were to go that way.
But it doesn't matter. If Trey Lance struggles, they're screwed anyway, right? I mean, if Trey Lance is, if your first,
they're screwed in a big sense.
If your QB1 is a failure, that's the topic. Who the backup is would become the next topic, but the topic of Jimmy Garoppolo will have nothing to do with Trey Lance's failure if he's failing.
That's fine. That's fine. But you do. The problem with all of this is that you factually do have something that other NFL teams don't in the case of a QB1 struggling, which is an option. Everybody else's season's over. We did this exercise earlier. We can't even name who Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes is. I have no clue who their backups are. I don't even know if the coaches do.
It's always Chad Henne.
It's always Chad Henne. Or somebody, or Case Keenum.
Chase Daniel.
Somebody who starts with a C. Anyway, so, but they've got an option. And so, could they, we've seen this, make up an injury. Sure, yes. Trey Lance has a pulled blank. Who knows? And Jimmy comes in and the team, it's not about the noise from us. It's not about the noise from the fans. It's about the noise from the veterans in the locker room who would be like, we can still save this. We can save this. We got an option. We got an option. So you're right. If QB1 struggles, they're a mess in a larger sense, but they're actually not for this year. There's an option.
They have an option this year.
They have one of the only parachutes on the plane.
They have the only insurance policy in the league, right? They've got Jimmy Garoppolo. This is what I
would say
see.
Carolina, if Darnold gets healthy again, that's the only quarterback room
I'm not a believer
that
in
has
Darnold.
two quality, like you at least did start games.
Yeah.
So
No, I would say this though. I think of Alex Smith, who became a Pro Bowl quarterback. But he was the number 1 pick in the 2005 draft. He became a Pro Bowler in 2013, 8 years later. So I look at Lance and I say, you know what? This guy's going to get there. He's got a lot of the same traits that Alex had. He loves the process. He's super athletic. He's a great prospect. He's going to improve. He's going to do all the work. But it may not be year 1. And it may look similar to Alex at the beginning, which was a freaking train wreck. I mean, Damon, you were doing pregame, postgame at that point. Yep. You remember the difference between Alex, between what he was in Kansas City or even late with the Niners compared to year 1 with the Niners. It's like night and day. So I think Trey's going to get there, and I feel really confident in saying that. But I'm also, not confident it's going to be this year. So I kind of like the presence of Jimmy.
Just please, with that whole statement, change this from it might not be year 1 to it might not be year 2. This is year 2.
Year 2.
Not year 1.
Year 1 is a start.
Year 2. Yes, year 1
So, Steinmetz, does that microphone even work?
Yeah,
I don't even know if it does. You want to go back to back like we're at karaoke?
Oh, look at you guys. You're going to do a duet.
That's great.
That mic doesn't work?
Steiny doesn't look like he's all for it.
We don't know that.
We never test that.
No.
Well, you didn't turn it on.
Oh, you turn it on.
No, the red light's not coming on, though, so it's not on.
But what about the 5-person show then? That
Okay, so Steiny,
that just eliminates the 5-person show.
JD's here, Larry's here, Damon's here, I'm here. Who do you want to share a mic with?
Wow.
Look at that.
No,
wow.
you're coming off COVID.
It's going with JD.
No,
going
no.
with JD.
No, I'm not coming off COVID.
No.
I may go stand by Damon now.
Yeah, seriously.
I might go stand by Larry.
It's like a square dance. It's like a square dance.
I got no problem either with just letting you 4 handle this.
I feel like I just got left at the speed dating table.
Yeah, I want you. I want you here, Steiny. I want to see your
Giants.
I want to see your tablet. I want to see all your pens. I want you here. You deserve to have a seat at the table.
Well, that might mean that you've got a bone to pick with me too.
No, I don't. You know me. You come in here with bones to pick with me, not the other way around.
No, absolutely not.
Mark's very sensitive. Be very kind
I am
to
today.
Mark. He's very sensitive.
Well, this all starts. It's been a weird week. Okay, my daughter had her cell phone stolen out of her backpack at soccer practice on Tuesday. No joke.
Well, that's bad.
No joke. So I've already the last 72 hours. I've already been just don't mess with me because I'm going to get angry fast. That's definitely true. Man, is there any inanimate object that's worse to lose in 2022 than your phone?
I lost my ATM card 4 days ago.
Yeah, but that's a quick phone call.
I was swearing.
This is a phone call.
Yeah.
The wallet's never good because it could require a DMV trip.
It could.
Passport. It's not good. Especially if you're overseas.
I've had that happen. I got stolen out of a hotel room one time.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Just cancel it. But then you got to go through the whole process of getting a new one.
Oh.
Yeah. I just decided I'm never going to leave the country ever again. And that took care of that. Now I don't need one. So first and foremost is Steiny and JD and Damon. And yes, Larry Krueger is still here in for dibs. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the Odyssey app. It is a steroided version of the changeover.
Okay, here's what I'll bring up.
Okay.
JD and I, after the show yesterday, went and had a beer. We're watching the Giants game. It's the 9th inning. Hader comes into the game.
You're expecting an explosion.
And I'm looking at JD and I'm like, that's one lefty.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 lefties. That's another lefty. Why are all these lefties batting against Hader?
Yeah.
They're out of players.
They're out of fans too. I think they're losing fans and players.
Wow.
And now the righty gets on to start the inning.
The story is hilarious, actually, if you even read the play-by-play of how it unfolds. Here comes Evan Longoria. So he can hit, but he can't run. And so then when he gets to second base, let's bring in Austin Slater because he can run, but he can't hit. And so you've got all these guys who are just duct taped together. It's September 1st. You're 10 games out of a wild card.
10.5.
You know who's healthy
Put
though?
them all on the injured list.
You know
and
who's
call up some players.
You know who's 100% healthy is the guy who takes the 320s or the $60 for parking. Yeah, his arm's still doing good.
He looked good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's what I know, and I'm taking this from you, Larry, because you put the quote out there. They're demonstrating the fight that they need. They're demonstrating the effort that we need. We're demonstrating the pregame routine that we need. It's not enough right now. We're not winning baseball games, and that's all that matters.
Larry, if you think you're mad at Gabe Kapler, I give you John Dickinson.
It's all under control.
This man is.
I like the anger, but JD.
I was over Gabe Kapler when it was just a rumor that he was going to get hired.
About an hour after the press conference. Yeah.
So was 107 wins like hell for you last year then?
Yeah, manager of the year. What'd you do that day?
It was, I gave him his flowers.
Okay.
I mean, but I also don't think it means he's a good manager. And I think his overall career, like this year, very much in line with what we saw in Philly.
Was last year the biggest sports aberration of our lives?
I think it is.
I mean, can you think of a bigger aberration than
we believe?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, if we go there, like, I mean,
No,
if we.
but no,
About
they
the
had Baron Davis.
73-win Warriors.
Were the biggest aberration?
Well, no,
Yeah,
'cause
that's
that's,
one of
that's part of a dynasty, though. So that's not an aberration.
Well, I mean, they won more games than any. I hear what you're saying.
I mean, unbelievable. I mean, still to this day, I'm like, how did they do
Yeah,
that?
that's true.
Yeah.
How did they do
It's
that?
weird. Normally, the further away you get from something, the easier it is to understand. The further you get away from 107, the harder it is to understand knowing what it looked like. I think we developed a healthier appreciation for Buster Posey's career in hindsight. But Gabe Kapler has 1,000,000% lost that clubhouse. And it actually happened months ago. I mean, you could hear how little his words carry any effect. Sometimes a baseball player needs to be told, you suck, sit down, think about it. And Gabe just soft talking everything and looking to politically correctly land everything. You know, we don't pinch hit for, we pinch hit with. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here.
That was a version of Jim Harbaugh. We're going to go with Colin and Alex. We're going to go with Colin and Alex. Yeah,
there's a $2 steak.
There's sometimes that you can see that and feel that. I like Larry and I were talking about this, though. I don't know if you guys saw this. An article in the Tampa Bay Times about 2 weeks ago. They caught up with Joe Madden, who's like fishing and golfing. And he basically put a face on everything that we've guessed about the managerial position in Major League Baseball. And he gave it, like he validated all of it, which is that, are we getting mad at middle management? Like, what is Gabe Kapler's job? What is any manager's job
He
anymore?
makes the pitching change that he was told to make.
Right. And then we're gonna dump it all at his feet when the guys don't go out there and play well. Like, here's the only issue I'd have with, for instance, the quote, JD, that you just brought up.
Sure.
Because if you're going to say, hey, Gabe, stop with this whole, hey, we're doing it all right, but we don't have the horses, which is essentially what he said. When on every other show this year, we've all heard from all of us going, he doesn't have the horses. So, like, does he have a point or does he not have a point? When he says we're doing everything right, but we just don't have the people to win.
He's got a point, but 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I don't remember exactly when it was, everybody was bitching about, hey, he's showing no fire. Then all of a sudden, he's got 3 days where he gets ejected and he's yelling and screaming. And that false hustle, I think, lost him the room. And I think this team has sunk like a freaking stone ever since. And I watch too much Giants baseball, but they're non-competitive at this point. And the vibe is awful.
He's a little bit of a preener, right? I mean, he preens. He is so worried about the accuracy of that beard shave. I mean, he is really, he takes out a ruler for that thing. He's
Shout out
worried
Rogan
about
and Son.
that.
Yep, go ahead.
And I just think that, the whole thing with, like, I'm going to take a knee or I'm not coming out for this national anthem. Like, really, dude? Like, that's who you're going to be? And you're going to come back out when police brutality is solved? Oh, so he's back out. So apparently that social issue has been put to rest. Gabe Kapler has said no more worries about that. I just think he got caught up in his own fame this year. He drives into that ballpark and he sees a picture of himself outside of it, not any of his players. And I think he got caught kind of, staring at himself in the mirror, kind of douchey like.
The 107 wins has had an unfortunate taste that it's left in a lot of mouths. I'll say it that way. I think it put our expectations maybe in a bad spot, number one. And number two, I do think that Gabe Kapler, Farhan Zaidi, and Scott Harris patted themselves on the back.
Well, that's it. Yeah. I mean, I think that all of them said our abacus is the MVP of this entire organization.
Yeah, I do think that.
And our Pythagorean theorem is our quadratic equations are more important than adding a guy like, who could actually come and hit in the middle of this lineup.
Okay, and also, now that I'll bring this up, I bet you will hear it tonight or tomorrow. Has he at any point said this year, you know what? Things aren't going right, but man, I got to own this. And it's my group. It's my thing. It's whatever. Own it. Even if it's not your fault.
These errors are on me.
Yeah, just something that says, hey, you know what? Man, if I'm on that team going, man, Gabe, we got to get it going because Gabe's taking bullets that should be aimed at us. You know, I mean, he doesn't do that.
I'll take that.
It's like he's afraid of his own job security.
I'll take the bet,
despite the fact he's the reigning manager of the year.
You're not going to hear that in the next 24 hours.
You don't think so?
Right now, to me, he's doing what every coach who's coaching a losing team does at this point in the year. Oh, we're playing hard. I got to give credit to the guys. I mean, we are still really grinding. That's because he doesn't want anybody to think it's fractured. They're still playing hard. That's the biggest message that he will send the next month. These guys are really gamers. I mean, look, we don't have the horses, but boy, are we grinding.
Trying.
I know what sickens me is the way that the media asks him. Yeah, it sickens me because I'm sitting there going, what the heck? And you know what comes from Kapler? People act like it's like some, it's like a White House situation. I mean, the questions get asked in such a
hushed tones,
and like, I better not emphasize. Like everybody in the rooms had their head bitten off by this guy, and he's about to snap, and they all feel it. And it's like it's the culture. You can tell it's the culture of his rooms and his meetings with the media. He must have gone off on some of these people because they're also freaking sheepish about posing these questions.
Wait a minute, you got a credential in grown kids? Go ask.
I actually don't have a credential.
I'm sure you can get one.
Might be able to. I know a guy who knows a guy. Might be able to
like go down there and ask some questions.
It's interesting. I actually think it's the opposite. Like I think he's been so nice to everybody.
He's nice to the players, and I've had people tell me, JD, that you can't go at his players.
Sure.
He just apologizes for the players. And when people are suggesting like Will Clark, they don't work hard enough, he's like, don't even go there. It's like, you will not question any of my players. But I mean, what could he get out of his players?
He's publicly had their back. Like at times I've listened to you two guys, like to the point where you don't even believe it. Remember Dubon?
Yeah.
Like, and he publicly is like, we were like, he's done that when you're like, well, wait a minute. It'll look like you're yelling at him in the dugout. So whether neither here nor there, believe it, don't believe it. It feels like Gabe has a rule. I'm not going to microphones to rip my players.
But he also doesn't go to umpires to defend his players.
Right.
And that means more. A player really doesn't care what happens in the media. They care about stolen strikes from umpires making bad calls. And I'm not saying he needs to be Earl Weaver, but twice a year you need to be Earl Weaver.
I would have yesterday.
Yeah, but when
if Brandon Crawford, okay,
you got to go out there going
Brandon
nuts.
Crawford comes in top 5 in MVP voting and has never yelled at anyone in his life. And the quote from the umpire is, "We're not talking about this." Like he sunned him and threw him out of the 3rd inning of a game.
Like he's Draymond just jawing at him for 3 quarters in a row.
I'm going out to left field and ruining my reputation.
I didn't like
right
Kapler
now.
pushing Kai Correa. Like, would you push Don Baylor that way? I just don't think so. Would you have pushed Matt
Don's
Williams?
a lot bigger than Kai.
Would you push Matt Williams that way? I don't think so. It seemed like a bullying tactic. I don't know. I'm not a Kapler guy overall. There's something about him that he doesn't seem like a dude to me, but I do think he's got a point when he says, hey, you know what? He's making it seem like it's nothing I'm doing. It's the talent. If you said, what's the real issue? I would say it's the talent, the lack of talent.
But at the same time, do you want him managing the team when they are good?
I'd be, if they went with regime change, I'd be okay with that.
So you'd be okay with new GM, but he's the manager.
No, regime change. I'm talking about goodbye. Both.
Okay. Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Even Farhan?
I would be okay with that. Where Farhan is the architect of this thing. Name me the player that he's year 4. That he's drafted, developed, and promoted to the big leagues. Doesn't exist. Name me the impact player that he's traded for. That doesn't exist.
But you like Kyle Harrison. That's on his watch.
Well, I got to see it. I mean, it's like,
but you're excited about him.
There's it's a rebuild. Where's the flooring? Where's the walls? Where's the rhubarb? There's nothing.
Rebar.
Rhubarb, I think, is a fruit.
Your rhubarb's been rubbed the wrong way.
My rhubarb,
like a strawberry kind of a deal.
You might have been talking about a baseball spat. They used to call those rhubarb.
That's true.
Yeah, there you go.
Or brouhaha.
But where's the framework of the rebuild? If you're Farhan, what are you pointing to?
Look,
you got the 107.
Farhan is great on the margins. He's great on the margins. He's great at identifying a quadruple A player who can come in and give us a month or two of good baseball. How is he 1 through 9? Build
something.
And that is, he needs, the problem isn't the guys coming off the bench. The problem is the guys starting the game. And if I hear one more time that, our starting lineup is predicated on who might come in as a relief pitcher, that's the wrong way to start a game. You need to worry about the starting pitcher and how your lineup performs against that guy, and to show you that they're so focused on what bullpen decisions could be made and what matchups lay a wait for them in any game that they are basically shut out and 3 hit in the first 5 innings against everybody.
Yeah. They don't score. Reminds me of a guy I went to college with, just never scored.
Wow. You threw it to somebody else, not yourself, huh?
Can't really blame him. I can't really say that about myself.
He kept his own stats.
He kept my own stats.
Yeah, he did. 510, can we get a Bochy off between Damon and Mark?
Get a beer.
What was that movie, The Never Ending Story? Do you remember that?
Sanchi.
Changeover.
I'll tell you what.
5 guys.
You know what?
Finding a good burger.
Traeger.
That's 5.
Yeah.
You know what?
Steiny and JD.
Gabe Kapler's greatest moment of the season was his reaction to your impression of him in real time. That's the best moment he had all year.
A rare, genuine moment for Gabe Kapler as well.
Wow. And with that,
is he like A-Rod perfect? It's like you're trying way too hard to be A-Rod perfect.
He's just phony.
There's a steroid joke
it's
in
just
there.
phony.
And from 5 to 2, here comes Steiny and JD. Damon, awesome, bud.
Good to see you guys.
Go get lunch.
Take care.
Larry,
Tomorrow? What
see
do
you
you think?
tomorrow.
All right.
I'll see you
Hey,
tomorrow.
I'm back.
Yeah,
I'm back,
yeah.
baby.
Barely.